What's up, legends? I'm just dropping in quickly to say thank you to our sponsors and hook you up with a little discount action. So head over to www.toodaloo.com.au, TUDALOO.com.au, 15% off any bidet purchase. Use code SESH at checkout. Save on toilet paper. Have a clean asshole. Everyone's winning. So thanks to Toodaloo. And shout out to Cup Kings. Go to www.cupkings.com.au/sesh or use sesh at checkout to receive 10% off all metal beer pong kits. They've got the best shit in the game. Hope you enjoy. Keep watching the podcast.
Yeah, it's a fucking headache. I don't know what I'm doing. We're on, by the way.
Okay.
Welcome.
How you going?
Michael Crafter.
I'm fully in the thick of it.
You
the
are.
south.
You are. When's the last time you came down here?
I was here after I came to Fiji. Went to Fiji, had a stopover, came back, had COVID, took it to my mum's house.
Nice.
Just got everyone.
Fuck yeah.
So I'm actually fucking cold down here, but it's freezing.
Yeah, it would be.
But
coming from Perth, it would be. Is it warm up there?
No, it's fucking cold in the mornings, but it's just way colder here for some reason. It's like here in Melbourne, it's fucking freezing.
Freezing.
Yeah.
So for anyone who doesn't know, Michael, I had this fucking joke in my head and I've already forgotten.
What do you mean? I'm the king of all dingo.
Michael's the king of all dingo, but I was just watching your Prom Queen doco and you had a first name Rubik's.
The Rubik's Cube.
The Rubik's Cube.
Shit ass. I don't think... I wasn't in the...
There was a fucking brutal one as well.
I don't think Child Left Burning.
Child Left Burning.
I was lucky. I wasn't in the band when they were called those horrible names. So when I joined, I was like, here's my list of shit names. There's I Killed the Prom Queen. And that's how it happened.
And when did Prom Queen form? Because they were already in a band and they kind of just were like, oh, you might know how to sing. And they threw you in the thick of it kind of thing.
There was like multiple bands and we were kind of in one. JJ was in one. Lee Stacey, who owns Stacey Surfboards. I don't know. People that surf would know who Stacey Surfboards are. He was like a legend. All like dudes from Victor Harbour. And then... they just started a band all together. It was kind of weird because I don't know how they all became friends. Because we were from such different circles. We still went to hardcore shows, but we
you all from Adelaide?
Well, yeah, because they were from Victor. We were all from Carnival Dinga. And then they started, and then I went to a few shows, and then somehow I ended up in the band.
Yeah, right. You didn't know how to sing or anything?
No, because I'd done a few bands before. So, like, in my time I was probably 14 or 15 playing bass in a punk band. Then, just trying to think of the timeline. Played bass in a punk band. Then I was in fucking, like, I was in me and Jonah were in class together and he turned around and he's like, do you want to sing in a band? I was like, yeah, sure. So then, I remember we'd go to band practice and I just had no fucking idea. But at the same time, it's like, if you have no idea, somehow you're going to work it out anyway. Like, it's not rocket science. It's you scream into a microphone. If you don't work it out, your fucking voice hurts. So then I'd finish and I'd be like, oh, my fucking voice hurts.
I was listening to you. I was listening yesterday all day to Confession and Prom Queen. And fuck, you got a good voice. Like, you had a fucking ripper voice.
Well, I feel like in that time it went from multiple styles too. Like, I was like, I didn't really have an idea how to start. So I was like trying to be heavy. Then it was heaps more screamy. And then I think I just kind of worked it out. I honestly feel like with Confession, my voice is at its best. So which kind of sucks now when looking at it. Because I was like, oh, if Prom Queen recorded music again, it'd probably sound fucking good. But we're fucking 40.
Oh, you still got a run in you for sure.
Oh, fuck.
Do you still got it? Do you still sing?
I think when we go play shows, like when Confession just does a here, there, or whatever show, because every now and again we'll go, oh, let's just play. Like we did Sydney and Newcastle and Perth. And it was cool. It was good to be playing shows. And it was, for me, it was good to play because of Kennedy. She hadn't seen a show. So
Is that
she
your
got,
daughter?
Yeah, so she got to come. And although she thought it was okay for about 10 minutes and got bored, but she still got to see it,
Yeah.
which is cool, you know. So I was stoked. And then I've got plans to do other shit in the future, but fuck.
You're a busy dude.
Busy.
Yeah.
It's hard. When you're busy and you got, like, when you're running a fucking business, fuck. It's. I was talking to a mate today. It's so easy if you go work for someone and fucking whatever, but you literally, if you're running your own business, you not only do whatever it is through the day, you're getting fucking phone calls, you're driving I've got multiple tattoo shops here, there and everywhere. I've got to go fucking pick shit up, drop shit off. I've got to see people in council.
Deal with your 25 staff.
Yeah, deal with the fucking staff, which, like, most of them are legends and cruisy, but then every now and again there's a bit of a fuck up, or maybe there's some issues between some people, and then to add to that, then I've got to be at fucking 3 o'clock school pickup.
Yeah, and be a dad.
I got to drop Kennedy off, and then I'll wake up with ADHD brain at fucking like 3 a.m. and just be like, oh, I need to do this before tomorrow, and I'll just get my computer out and sit up for 2 hours, go back to sleep at 5 until like 7, and then I'll get up and do it all again.
Yeah, right.
So it's pretty crazy like that. But I got 2 questions for you.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Shoot.
Did you get choked out by an Olympian woman in Northbridge? That's the first
Yes, I got the video.
You got the video?
Yeah.
Why is this not a real everyday?
Yeah, so the story goes, me and the boys went up to Perth. That was the loosest trip ever. And we went to go watch Volkanovski.
Yeah.
And Adam Jones's brother Craig was cornering Volk.
Yeah.
And we were all partying. And then afterwards, Adam's like, oh, do you just want to go to the after party? And I was like, fuck yeah. So we ended up at like the after party with Volk and Izzy and all that.
Yeah.
And we were walking from this after party to a club. And this guy's girlfriend was like, oh, we were talking about getting choked out. And I was like, and she's like, oh, I don't think I could do that to another human being. I was like, I'll let you do it to me. And she was so fucking strong. She just put me out like a light.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, and the other one was, and you may have mentioned his name, why were you a coward when you went to Perth?
Oh, fucking Adam.
He reckons you're a coward?
Adam Jones is a coward. He's a freak. Adam's like, I'd never even seen him drink before. And he fucking was like 4 days. There was not a second he didn't have a drink in his hand.
What area did he grow up in?
I think he grew up down here.
Yeah, it depends on what water he was drinking when he was young, I guess.
I don't fucking know. I've never seen anyone that tall though.
Fuck, man. I seen Izzy walk past me at the casino.
He's massive.
Oh, I couldn't believe it.
He's built though. Like people
Yeah.
think he's just tall and skinny.
Oh.
Like he's big. He's a big
He
dude.
literally walked past, and I was like, I've never. Obviously, like, especially when you watch like footballers or fighters or whatever, when you see them in person,
They're
you're
big.
like, it's different. Like, it's like, I remember I got onto a plane and Adam Sanderlands from Freo was on the plane,
Big
and he
unit.
literally walks and goes.
It's
turns
funny
his head,
as though
and I was
because
shocked.
then you see like old footy players like Rashudo or someone, and they're not that tall.
Nah,
like they were smaller back then.
Yeah, but he was just a brick shit house.
Yeah.
Like, he's just absolute thick and
Yeah.
just didn't need to be. And midfielders of that era were a lot smaller than like
Now.
Cripps is huge. I've seen Cripps in person. He's fucking massive.
I remember I saw Primus was big. I remember I
Yeah.
met Primus once, and he was a giant. But like you said, midfielders used to be heaps smaller. So yeah, that Perth trip was fucking. So Adam's been talking shit then.
Oh, he's just threw out the question.
razzing you
I
up.
didn't get to the gym today. He wasn't going to be there anyway. But so after I left you, by the way, real good food.
Thank you.
I'm fully claiming you.
Thank you.
But yeah, I seriously leave, and I've got messages like, I'm on 5%. Can you bring me a charger? So my daughter's phone's running out, and I'm like,
Oh, the
so I don't
travesty.
get a fucking meltdown. I've driven home and just sort her out. I'm like, here's a charger. was like, get Nana to go fucking buy you one.
It's different dad life to the rockstar life.
Oh, it humbled my entire existence.
What was the oh shit, sorry. What was the feeling like when because you would have been pretty young when Prom Queen blew up.
Yeah.
What was the moment where you were like, oh shit, like this is like or did it just gradually happen, or did it just go, oh no, this is like actually happening?
I kind of feel like we played a couple of shows, and then because we had 2 singers to begin with, and that was Lee Stacey. So then when he quit, we pretty much had a discussion with him that you need to focus on your surf brand, because this is going to do better. Your surf company is going to do better than the band. He had a missus, and it seemed like he had a lot more going on than we did. We just were fucking shithead kids.
Degenerates.
Yeah, just shithead kids from Aldinga. So, I think we started going to Melbourne, and we got to Sydney and stuff. And I remember being down at looking at Sydney Harbour and shit, and I'm like, fuck, music's got me here. This is sick. Like, this is as good as it gets.
This is my peak.
Yeah, like, fucking, it's never getting any better. And then I just remember sitting on boats, like on a boat going across to fucking Manhattan and in America, and starting to play to people that knew the words. And then I remember we came back, we were doing fucking well. Like, it went from like 100 people were showing up to shows to like fucking 500. Pretty fast too. And I remember we went to Sydney on the first co-headline tour we did. Played Sydney and like 60 people showed up, and we're like, fuck, never going to Sydney again. Fucking hates us. And then we booked a venue, and we were like, oh, we'll just roll the dice and do this fucking venue. And it was like, I think at the time, I held 900 or something. And I think we'd done like 700 pre-sale tickets, and we're like, oh, okay, I guess Sydney now likes us. So we'd done a few, like, lucky to do a few support tours that kind of like built us. So it's hard to tell if you're on a support tour, it's hard to tell who's there for the big band or who's there for you.
That's a good way to like not steal, but like to get new people into your band.
And we were pretty conscious on it. No other band that we could support was too far away from what we were doing. Like, even though we'd go out with punk bands and emo bands and fucking proper metal bands, we were like, well, if we can get some people from their crowd, then it's only going to help our chances. And then as time went on, we could that singing, screaming fucking metalcore sound that we were kind of creating ourselves, we just started to notice the people just coming out of nowhere. So we kind of like had our own little world for quite...
Was this like 2001?
No.
2002?
I think when it really started to do well was probably like 2004.
2004?
Yeah, as soon as the When Goodbye Means Forever CD came out, we were like, we're in some...
I listened to that yesterday, and that is a fucking banger album.
Oh, I listened to it because Confession played a couple of songs off it, on the last shows, and I listened to it, and I was just like, because we got it remixed and mastered for a re-release not long ago, and then when I listened, I was like, these songs are still good. Like, they're still real good. And me and Jonah, and like I sent them to JJ. Me and JJ hadn't talked about Prom Queen in fucking 15 years, or thereabouts. And I sent him a fucking message, and I was like, with the link, and he wrote back, we're a real good band. And I was like, I was like, yeah, we actually were.
Yeah, we weren't shit.
Yeah, like, we were
good.
And it's hard when you think about those times, because you're like, it's such a whirlwind. You kind of forget. I think you get wrapped up in the moment. You don't realise what you've got.
Yeah.
So for me, I think I took a lot of it. I guess I took a lot of it for granted, and when it all kind of started to crumble, I realised that I was like, fuck, okay, well, what I had, I still want. And that's, I always think the thing, everything comes in, like all the situations that came of my the demise, I guess, of me being
Yeah.
like the prom queen helped me do so much more than I ever fucking would. Like, I got to sing for other bands. I got to go live in America. I got to sing for a fucking band that was like one of my favourite bands when I was young.
Who was that?
It's called Bury Your Dead.
Well, did you tour with them in 2007?
You're like a fucking Wikipedia.
2007, and Carpathian was 2006.
It was.
Yeah.
So when all that was kind of happening, I was like, and then when I kind of decided, like mid-tour, I was like, oh, fucking, I don't like this band. Oh no, not I didn't like the band. I didn't like one of the people in the band, and the person ended up going to jail for 25
This
years.
is Prom Queen.
No, this is Bury Your Dead.
But wait, he went to jail for what? Wait, he went how long?
25 years.
That's a fucking stint.
He was kidnapping people.
Really?
And extorting them, yeah.
Which member? What did he play? What instrument?
Played guitar.
No, that's more of a. That sounds like a drummer or a bassist.
Oh,
Kind of thing.
I feel like it doesn't sound like a person in a band.
Yeah, it's very.
Sounds like a more veiled drug dealer.
So he was just kidnapping people.
He had got involved in some kind of shit, and I think he had a pretty checkered past, and I think he thought he was a fucking hero. So when I went there, there was always guns around and stuff like that. So it was pretty fucking, how you going? Like,
For an Aussie, yeah.
Oh yeah, like I'd seen fucking sawn off 22s and shit, like being carried by like people in the south, but
Jesus Christ.
not really like fucking Glocks and AKs and M4s and you name it. I'd never seen a person pull a Desert Eagle out their pants.
Fuck
I've
that.
seen it at band practice.
Was Prom Queen's rise synonymous, like, in time with Parkways?
Yeah, well, we had so when I started dating a girl in Byron Bay, and at the time I was talking to like different people who were in Parkway but not in Parkway yet. Like that Parkway was happening, but it had never played. So it was like more like we've got a band, and I was like, oh well, I'm going to be in Byron Bay. So then I remember, so Jed was driving a fruit.
Jed Gordon.
Yeah, fruit truck. So the girlfriend at the time's like, I've got to go to work at a cafe. You've got to go hang out with my mate. So Jed's picked me up in his fucking fruit van, and we're driving around Byron Bay, and all he's talking about is his brother's band. His brother at the time's 15. And I'm like, oh, again, we can fucking go. Another
band.
Another fucking person telling me their brother's band's sick. So then we go, I think we finished like giving carrots out to people in the town or whatever else he's fucking giving out. And we went to band practice. And like I literally walked into band practice, obviously said hello. They're in fucking board shorts, like
Just surfers.
Yeah, and I knew like a couple of them. Like I knew Winston, I knew Ben, who was Jed's brother. I knew Luke because I'd met him like previously. And like Jeff just looked like a random dude they'd found. And then when they fucking were playing songs, I was just like, this is wild. And I remember I called someone. I think I called Jonah. I was like, this band's crazy. Like I said, like this band's really, really good.
They're different.
Yeah, and then I went. So then they had their first show, and then after that night, I remember I went and called Jonah again, and I was like, oh, we just need to do something with this band. And he's like, they've played one shot, and I was like, honestly, we really do. So then that's when I said to them, I think I said to Luke the next day, I was like, want to do a split? Like when I said we're going to do a split, because we needed to have something before the album, because we were kind of like hadn't fully finished the album yet. And then I was like, we want to do it with yous. And then it started. And then we remember we took them on tour the first night. So you're talking late 2003 probably, mid 2003. And they've come to Melbourne, and like they're fucking typical surfers. They've rock, paper, scissors to eat laxatives before they've gone on stage. So they're all like fucking looking at each other like they want to die because they all need to shit themselves. Like,
why would you do that?
Like, but this is the kind of shit they would do, like constantly. Like between them and who they'd take away with them, they'd always have like 5 mates with them. So like every time they started playing, their mates would be going utterly fucking psycho. So then they look like a crazy band. Like you got 5 dudes going crazy. There's going to be another fucking 10 cunts in the crowd that are also going to follow suit.
Yeah, it's going to get contagious.
If you didn't take those 5 people, you're probably going to stand to fucking people not moving at all, especially for an opening band. So then all that kind of happened, and then what now is a 20-plus year friendship. Well, yeah, over 20.
And they're probably considered the greatest metalcore band of all time.
Well, I think like they're definitely in the fucking. I think there's a big. I honestly think metalcore probably has like a big 3 or 4 now. Like Bring Me the Horizon are obviously
they're massive
at the top.
That Lorna Shore's massive as well.
Yeah, I think nowadays it's like Architects are obviously huge and been around a long time. Parkway's been around a fucking long time and huge. Like those 3 are probably at the top of the tier.
I was never into like metalcore or heavy metal. I was more like, I used to like traditional metal, like 90s rock and shit. And my missus is a massive metalcore fan. Like she's got Parkway tattooed on her fucking kneecaps.
Same, I lost rock, paper, scissors.
Oh really?
Yeah, and I had to get PWD on my leg.
Yeah, she's got like, so she's like, oh, you got to go to like come to this show, Architects, and I was like, fuck, I don't want to go. Like people like fuck each other up at those shows and stuff. And she's like, no, Architects isn't like a bad mosh or anything. Like it's pretty tame.
Yeah.
And I went, and Parlours opened up for them. And fuck, they're so good. Parlours were really good, but Architects were insane. And then, ever since then, I was like fucking hooked. And then I listened to Parkway, and it's so weird that I only really started listening to metalcore like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And so I had all of this music to listen to.
Oh, it's a fucking 20 plus years. Well, the thing about metalcore is us and Parkway at the start of it. Like, there were bands doing it before us, no doubt, that we fucking maybe leached off a bit and stole a few riffs here and there, but we definitely got to see it get fucking huge. And like to think of it now, it's like I just went in January, me and Kennedy we drove from Switzerland to Germany to watch Architects. Just insane.
They're so good.
It was just like fucking 8,000+ people, and just crazy. And I've seen the Architects play to fucking 1,000 people. Seen them play to 8,000 people. It's such a. It doesn't matter if there's fucking. I reckon if there was 50 people in the room,
it'd still be dope.
They're still going to be fucking good. And that goes for the same as Parkway. I've seen them play to fucking no one.
That's correct. My missus was telling me about the time she went. They played like back-to-back shows at the Gov or something.
Maybe.
Well, I think it was the Gov. Or it was a smaller venue, and they played like 2 or 3 back-to-back shows, and she went to all of them.
Yeah.
And she said they were the best shows when there was like 300 people.
Yeah. Well,
because it would get really loose.
I think, like in those early days, like we would play like venues that would maybe hold like 200-300 people.
Yeah.
And then honestly, us and them did a tour where we skipped Sydney. We just went around.
Really?
We played Newcastle, didn't play Sydney City, and everyone was mind blown. They're like, but this is pre-internet. Like, you'd literally put your tour dates on your fucking on your website, and then you'd kind of talk about it maybe on like a message board or something.
I was going to say, you've almost got off like if the internet was around back then, it would have been such a bigger advantage.
Oh, I think we were so disadvantaged in a way.
But you also then again the market wasn't as saturated, so like it's a catch-22.
The difference in then and now is, I feel like you could have gone to Victor Harbour, or you could have probably gone to Aldinga, or like whatever small town it is across Australia, and played wherever the fuck you want, and 500 kids would have showed up. Don't think you can do that now. I just don't think the kids I think every kid in fucking high school was into fucking Parkway, Prom Queen, and whatever else was coming up at that time, whether it be there was Bleeding Throughs and As Lay Dyings and all these big US bands were like the cool thing for kids to be into. Now it's like 30 fucking second jingles on TikTok.
Yeah, that's so big. Like a minute little clips on TikTok.
And like...
with like three lyrics in them.
Yeah, and I mean, I ask Kiki all the time. I'm like, what's fucking big? And then she said something about Ice Spice the other day, and the only thing...
That's exactly who I think of when you said that.
Yeah, and the only thing I knew about Ice Spice is Donald Trump saying Ice Spice really funny. I wouldn't have a clue what her song sounds like. I don't know what she looks like. But Kennedy was like, last night, I was like, me and my missus were on the phone to her, because, I was on the phone to my missus, and we're just like saying stuff to see what Kennedy knew, like where it bands, celebrities or whatever, and some stuff it's like mind-blowing she doesn't know them. I'd say like certain things, she's like, who? And I'm like I could say, I said like Eminem, Snoop Dogg, I can't even remember what else, and then I go Dr. Dre, she's like, no. And I'm like, if it wasn't for him the other two wouldn't exist. But for her, or for people, Dr. Dre's not on fucking TikTok like a cool Snoop song.
It's just an age. Even like the other day, I got into like an argument with one of my staff because she's like 15 or 16, and Journey's song "Don't Stop Believing" came on, and I was like, "Fuck, this is such a good song." And she's like, "Yeah, isn't this the song from Glee?" And I was like, "What? What the fuck are you talking about?"
That's how people are gonna see what certain...
Well, every song's a remake now, so whenever they hear a song, they think it's the original song, but nothing you hear, they're all samples of like late 90s, early 2000s music now.
Well, think about how many of those 60s, 70s, probably 80s songs that have made a comeback just because of a fucking TikTok.
Yeah, huge.
Like, it's fucking nuts. I looked at... There was some fucking metal fucking section the other day, and I was like, well, I looked at the band and I was like, I can't even remember what the numbers were, but it was like a fair few 100,000 views on Spotify. And I was like, oh, it's pretty crazy. They've had a bit of fucking TikTok fame. But then I was like thinking about bands that have had that, and there's a band called The Plot in You that had a song called Feel Nothing, and I looked at their numbers, and that song's like 200 million or something plays. And they're like a 500, 800 people kind of band pulling per night, maybe more in the States. But because of their like that song doing well on TikTok, it's obviously made them a fucking chunk of money, which is, because I don't know what the money is for TikTok and I don't know how that works. But for every, I don't know, for every 100,000 plays on Spotify, you probably make a couple thousand.
Is that what you make on it?
Yeah, I think the last time I looked, song had 100 and... Well, I had an amount in there for 1,700 US when it hit 100,000, and then I got another 500 when it hit something else. So I made a fair few thousand off one song that I released myself. But so it was interesting to see, because I'd always just email the label, here's a fucking invoice, chuck us some money. So, but that was for record sales and CD sales, and
that's the thing that artists don't have anymore that you had CD sales.
Yeah, and I feel like merch sales is probably still as crazy. The only luxury now is you charge $50, $45 to $60 per t-shirt. We were charging $20 for fucking 10 years.
For a hoodie, you charge fucking $150.
Yeah, like bands now can charge whatever the fuck they want.
A little birdie told me Parkway Drive made a lot of fucking money off their merch at the last festival they played before Slipknot. They played before Slipknot? Yeah, I heard they fucking sold a boatload of merch.
Well, remember there were nights that we would walk out of venues with like big amounts of money. And I used to think, this is from selling T-shirts. Like, at the time when you're, like, going and your fucking first tours, you're eating meagering and doing whatever, and then you're like, oh, we've just done fucking 5,000 in merch or 10,000 in merch or
Oh.
20,000 in merch or above. Like, because there were nights were above that. And you're like, someone could rob you. Like, I used to think, like, when I used to go out out with Parkway and whatever, and they'd take a boardie and stuff as well. And I used to be like...
Shout out to Pete.
Yeah, shout out to Pete. I used to think, like, oh, well, Pete's the fucking backup if someone tries to rob fucking Luke of the cash. Like, Pete's going to have to put his fucking Maroubra head in the way and fucking sort shit out. But yeah, I used to, like, think about leaving the venues because there was so much more cash then. Like,
Yeah.
we were fucking tapping going with fucking Square.
Yeah, it was all cash.
Yeah, it was all cash.
It was all fresh $50.
And nowadays, it's like, we just did a run. And I remember it's like, oh, here's fucking 800 in cash or something. And I was like, yeah, sweet. And then it was like thousands on the Square machine. I was like, fuck, I've got to pay tax on that. That's fucked. But the golden days of all cash on tour,
now.
it's over.
It's
like
over
you could leave a venue.
Easy come, easy go with cash, like when you're that young with cash. Oh, but you were never a drinker, or actually, you were never a drug taker, a drinker, but you lived every day like a tour.
Every day.
That's,
because I fucking slept in.
That's the Big Brother. That was the Big Brother promo.
I know. I just slept in too much, man. It was fucked. I like woke up today at like about 9 and I felt so shit. I was like, and then I thought about it. I was like, fuck, it's still only fucking 7:30 in Perth.
The Perth is the worst place to travel to in the world.
Yeah.
I went to Japan recently and it's 30 minutes behind us. They're only 30 minutes behind Adelaide.
And
But
Perth's an hour and a half. Or
Perth's 2.5.
it was
isn't
2.5 because you're in daylight savings.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
I remember once the first day I got to Perth, I got rorted drunk and I was like, surely it's like 1 a.m. It's fucking like 9 p.m.
Yeah, I think that's what's always fucked me is to try and do business from there.
with other estates.
It's with other states.
Why'd you move to Perth?
I always liked it. I know, obviously,
A lot of people like Perth.
obviously I met a female. Like, fucking, why else would a dickhead male fucking move
Yeah,
to
that'll do
another
it.
spot? But yeah, I met Kennedy's mum, and we tried on the Gold Coast for a bit, and then, well, actually, I moved there, and then we were planning on moving to the Goldie, and then fucking 2 weeks before, she's fucking obviously weed on a stick that tells her she's having a baby, and I'm like, well,
that'll do
let's
it.
fucking go. And I was like, well, might as well do this. I always said, even if we ever split up, we'll be good parents because we're both genuine people. And then when we did split up, we made it work. We co-parented very well compared to, like, out there's a lot of people that are in very toxic situations, even post being in a toxic relationship with each other. Me and Kennedy's mum never had any form of toxic relationship. It just didn't work.
Yeah.
So then when you can move forward, and then it does take time to work on that thing of co-parenting, but I feel like we're on a pretty good wicket as far as we can call each other. If there's anything drama like going on, we can talk about it. And then also it's like, hey, I can't fucking get there. Can you go grab her? Or like vice versa for school. And if we can't help each other sometimes, then we'll obviously ask other people to help. But most of the time, like Candace, like, got work early, can you just rush to school? Like, even like the other day, she's like, can you just go grab her? It's pouring rain and I don't want to walk into school in the rain. I'm like, yeah, fine. 40 fucking minute drive to drive my daughter fucking K down the road.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay. And then he's like, have a good day. And I'm like, fuck, could have given me a cuddle or something. Like, but yeah, it's good to be in that kind of situation.
It's better for the kid as well.
Fully.
The worst thing for a kid's to see that your fucking parents hate each other.
Oh, and me and her mum, like me and Candace, like, we can joke about shit. We hype each other up. Like,
He's a mate.
yeah, we're fully, like, we're on such a good thing where if something is happening with Kennedy, we can have a good discussion about it, where a lot of people can't do that. And that I feel sorry for people that can't, because if your kid does see drama, then they think that's how maybe they should be treated or something like that. So I think,
Everything stems from the parents.
yeah, so I'm glad I did end up in Perth. I fucking love the place. Like, I'm such an advocate for how good it is. It's like...
That's like fucking Adelaide. I love it here.
Do you?
Oh, fuck off.
Like, I fucking tell you now, when I get to Aldinga, I'm
You feel home.
Stoked to be here.
Yeah.
Like, I love being down south.
I hate going down the hill. As soon as I go down the hill and I leave the south, I fucking can't handle it.
Yeah. Nah, fucking down that hill. Fuck that.
No, I don't like it. But like, you went to Colonnades today. Didn't you feel at home?
Red hot. You can't. The thing with Colonnades is there's a lot of old people, but there's also a lot of crackheads that look old.
Yeah.
They could be 25 or they could be a meth head.
Yeah.
And look 60. So I'm walking and then some dude goes, "Nice bag," and I was like, "Fucking." Cool. And then I was like, walk kind of outside. I was like, oh, do I go to the Colonnades tab and put 50 in the pokies? And then he comes up and he's like, you got any gear? I was like, fuck. I was like, nah, mate, can't help you. And I fucking walked off. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to go on the Colonnades fucking pokies. I'll probably get fucking robbed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I fond memories of Colonnades. It was the only place that had a Centrelink for a long time.
Yeah.
I used to go there, and I was like, fucking... Oh, we're talking about this. Jonah messaged me something yesterday, actually. We were talking... Someone saying something about tax dollars and, like, your fucking tax dollars going to the unemployed or whatever. People, if it wasn't for tax dollars going to Centrelink, people in bands wouldn't be able to make shit happen.
Yeah, there'd be no bands.
Those Centrelink $500 loans was buying us fucking amps and shit.
Yeah.
To begin with, it's like, if we put all of these together, we can go on tour. And that's literally how we'd get, like, enough fuel money and stuff to start a tour.
Would you say that Prom Queen was like your first love, but Confession was like your baby?
Yeah, I think in the terms...
Sorry about that fucking rain pissing me off.
It's just raining a bit. It's fucking pretty cold down here.
Yeah, it is.
Fucking, I think it's just the fact that I had a different... it's pissing down.
One sec.
We're going to put the fucking...
All right, we're back. That was my apologies. I'll fucking do this out of a Morphevale studio.
If it wasn't for for our voices putting people to sleep, the rain noise is just fucking... It's like what I listen to, but put it on YouTube. Rain noises.
So what we were saying before the rain cut us off, I was saying how Prom Queen was like your first love, but Confession was more like your baby.
Yeah, I feel like I had more freedom to just... And I had this idea where I was like, I'm just going to record songs at home. And like Dan that plays in the Amity Affliction, me and him were like, oh, let's just fucking write some stuff. We're in two different bands. He was in a Byron Bay band.
Oh, so is he in Confession as well?
No, well, he's in Amity, but he was in Confession for like 5 years.
No way.
So then when we'd just write everything and send it back and well, not even really send it back and forth to each other. We were more so like go to a fucking studio or go into whatever house I was living at the time and record a lot of stuff ourselves. He'd go home, work on it, and then send it back to me, and we'd be like, okay, well, that's sick. So then we'd either put it on fucking MySpace or online somewhere. And then we started getting offers to tour. So then, and like Parkway offered us some stuff. D's Nuts, which was JJ from Prom's band, he offered us some stuff. And I was like, oh, maybe we'll just tour. So then we're like, oh, we'll put a band together. I think we put multiple bands together that we did photos but never that lineup ever played.
Yeah.
I think we were like trying to like put like pieces of a puzzle together that weren't really happening. Then we ran and recorded, and then just it kind of started to steamroll, and then I think, and then we started doing headline tours, and it started to do real well. But I think we hit a few hurdles where like there was a bit of infighting, and I admit I wasn't exactly the fucking best person to be in a band with sometimes, because I started a band myself, I funded a band myself, and like I needed to obviously get reimbursed for the fucking $15,000 I spent to record the first album. Like, I essentially used Prom Queen's tour money to fund Confession. Like, that was the way I started the band. So then when time came in and we were going places and doing certain tours and spending more money than we were earning, it was fucking stressful. And then we did a European tour just after Kennedy was born, and the band felt that there was problems between me and them, and we were like, obviously we were fucking, there was a lot of indifference, and they attempted to kick me out. And I was like,
Of your band.
of my band.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you talking about? I'm
Yeah,
like,
right.
I own all of this. Like, I own the name. I've registered all the name. I wasn't going to have issues like I did in the past with Prom for certain issues when it comes to song ownership and so forth. So I made sure that I could still tour. So then put together another bunch of dudes, and then when all that worked out, we ended up with the Life and Death album, which was like the final Confession album. But even on the back of that, we still managed to do fucking, like, so on the lineup before, which Dan was included in, we did like Europe like 3 times. We did Australia probably fucking 10 times plus. We never got on any of those fucking festivals. Like, we couldn't get on Soundwave. And then I had dinner one night. Me and AJ, that owned Soundwave at the time, had a bit of beef on Twitter. We were just going back and forth, and I was fucking saying whatever. I said, you never put any Australian bands on, you fucking idiot, basically. Then I went out to dinner with my friends in the band A Day to Remember, and they were like...
You know your day to remember.
Yeah, because us and Prom, and what we'd done Confession did tours with them. And I remember the first time we went out, Prom, Confession, Parkway, A Day to Remember, Suicide Silence did a tour. And then, and Acacia Strain. So then they were like, fucking, we obviously introducing ourselves, and they were like, we used to come watch Prom Queen in Florida. And I was like, what? And they were like, yeah, when we were kids, we'd go to the fucking halls he has played and come watch it. And I was like, that's fucking nuts.
That's a trip.
Because I was like, this band's about to blow up. So then we just stayed friends. Like, and then, we're at this dinner in Northbridge, actually, at some Italian joint. And I remember because fucking AJ walked in with fucking System of a Down, and I was like, oh, do I do the fucking funny System of a Down voice? and then they were like, oh, fucking he came over and stuff, and they were like, oh, do you know Crafrer? And then AJ's like, oh, hey mate, how you going? Blah blah blah, little bloke like with a silly hat on. And then we had a bit of a yarn and stuff, and I was like, oh, fucking, you should put us on. Joking around. And then I remember I messaged him on Twitter when the next Soundwave came around and it was coming up. And I was like, are you, and I was like, super blunt, are you putting us on? ? And he's like, okay. And that was it. And I was like, did I just get us on Soundwave by using Twitter? And then, like, I didn't hear anything. No money offer, nothing. Flyer comes up. Fucking our name's on the flyer.
No way.
And I'm like, they've not had any correspondence with me whatsoever.
This is with Prom Queen.
No, this is with Confession.
This is with Confession.
Yeah. So then I'm like, kind of mind blown. I remember we're on tour, and like the flyers come out, and we're on the flyer, and I'm like, fuck, somehow my shit talk on Twitter has finally got us on this festival. And I remember that year, it was big, like fucking, it was the biggest it ever was, and probably the biggest festival you could put together. Like, it was fucking, as far as big bands, Metallica.
Metallica played at a Soundwave.
Yeah, Metallica, Blink-182, Linkin Park.
What year was this?
Oh, 2013, 2012.
That's such a big
Oh,
lineup.
no, it was like it was like the biggest fucking thing ever. And then on another stage was like Bring Me the Horizon and Amity were like fucking on their own stage. And then there was like, I'm Trying to think who else was on it. It was like the biggest fucking... It was every band on the planet. It was like the biggest fucking thing ever. And then a year went past again. And then the next Soundwave came, and that was the Slipknot, I think Marilyn Manson and stuff year. And I messaged again, and I was like, "We on?" And he's like, "Yep." And then Fly comes out, and we're on Soundwave again. So like I remember like when we played Sydney on the first one. Fuck, it was probably
Cypress Hill was on one of those.
That was that year too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember I went to the sideshow the first year. I went to the sideshow, and it was like, I've never smelt so much weed.
You got a contact high.
It was literally, I stood by the back door, and I just remember them like pretty old dudes, and it was just them, all their like posse, and all just like
just chuffing up.
All chicks. Like I was like, these dudes are like 50 odd, and they're just all these like basically strippers standing on stage. Good on them. Because the whole place was stoned.
Yeah, right.
Like, it was wild. And I was like, this is crazy. These dudes are just... Like, if I was a weed smoker and playing in a fucking band, it'd be the best show in the world to go to. They're just passing joints to randoms like that.
Yeah, I heard that show was fucking crazy.
Whatever that fucking... What's the main singer? The main tall dude with the weird, funny voice?
Oh, fuck, I wouldn't be able to tell you his name.
Yeah, I can't remember. But he literally was the stonedest dude. Like, literally, like, his eyes were fucking shut, and there's like 3,000 people inside, like I think Melbourne Town Hall or one of them, like, fucking, like, venues in the city. I was like, this is wild. Like, rap's huge. And it was just crazy because they were on Soundwave. So that was like...
Yeah, it was an odd place to put them.
And I remember that the massive thing for me for that time, me and Aaron from Amity were walking, and I can't remember what or where we were going, but I remember I seen Chester from Lincoln Park in the corner of my eye, and I was like walking, and I said to String, I was like, "No, I got to sweat this cunt and get a photo." So I've turned around, and I was like, "Hey man, can we get a photo?" And he's like, "Yeah." Like, so me and Aaron got photos with him, and then obviously years later, not even that long after, I think it might have even only been a year or two, when he took his own life. So it's like, I've got this photo of someone that is literally smiling in every photo he takes, that's like obviously got battles behind closed doors.
That was a really fucking big... That was a big one for a lot of people.
Because I think it doesn't matter the money, the success, the life, the kids... the wife, all this stuff this guy had, the demons that are there are fucking just wild. And then the fucking the rabbit hole of stuff that was being said also, like all these people, the conspiracy shit was just like, I was like, fuck.
Just let the bloke's memory be like normal, instead of saying, oh, it was a conspiracy because of this and that. The bloke just was having a tough time.
What about, like, if there's anything on the internet that's like, this person has died, like, rest in peace. People are like, did they get the jab? That person died in a car crash. Like,
but did they get the jab?
Did they get the jab? Is that why they died? Like, I see it all the time. It's like, something will come up and they'll be like, but someone that's committed suicide. Like, I've seen a few things recently of people that have committed suicide, and there's literally on the bottom of the news story, they always put the Beyond Blue stuff and they always put the contact numbers and that, and people are like, did they get the jab? I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like we went through such a crazy time in life where it's like, did you get it? Didn't you get it? Why didn't you get it?
Do you know, I was saying yesterday to someone that, oh, fuck, I miss COVID. It was, like, exciting.
Oh, it was like, am I going to...
It was like the world's going to fucking end. Like, people, like, someone would sneeze in public and you'd be like...
fucking... Yeah, someone coughing and you're like, fucking...
You gross cunt.
You should be hung. Like, it was literally like... the stuff that was being said was crazy. Like, it was full public condemning people for, like, the smallest shit. It's like, they've not got the jab. What, do you want us all to die? It's like, we're not gonna die.
We're gonna be fine.
We're fucking sweet. And I remember I was like holding out like a motherfucker. And I was like, I'm not this crazy anti-vaxxer that's fucking a Fruit Loop, but I was like, I'm not getting the vax. I'm not getting the vax.
I waited till they threatened people couldn't go to work.
Well, this is the one that did me in. You cannot get into the Perth casino without the vaccine. I was like, fuck, pull up my arm, fucking get me in there. As long as I can go play blackjack, I'm good.
So
Jab me.
Adelaide Cass wouldn't let you in either, and I went out with one of my mates. We had a hotel room one night, and I got the first one, I think, and I had the passport, whatever the vaccination thing on my phone, and my mate hadn't got it yet, but his dad had it. So he had his dad's vaccination thing on his phone, and his dad's like fucking 68. And he's not 68. And he's just showing them. They're like, yeah, you can go through. And I was trying to show them mine, and they were like, it looks a bit fake. And they wouldn't let me.
That's awesome. That's well, I had a fake one for fucking a fair while, and then I got pulled up on it.
Oh, the ones that you could download for
yeah.
people who didn't ever know. They got onto that straight away with the fake ones.
I got caught. I can't remember where I was. I think I was going to dinner somewhere, and they're like, nope. I was like, fuck.
I'll never forget. I coughed at a servo once, like because I was like trying not to sneeze because I was like, fuck, I don't want to do this here because everyone's gonna judge you. So I was like, and I just coughed, and you just hear everyone.
It's the crazy. Thinking back, it's the craziest time ever. But
how fun!
Oh well, I was stoked.
Memes.
I was like fucking at home, hanging out. I clocked Netflix. I watched everything on there. And me and Kennedy, because like her mum's like, she might as well come stay at yours because like she's like, I've at least got family around. You've got you, and she's like, so she might as well come to yours. So me and her were like. Literally filming TikTok dances and
hanging
like
out
just
every
doing
day.
dumb shit. Go on the beach, like we'll just go on the beach whenever we want. But I remember I went around to all the tattoo shops and collected all the money, and like I was trying to do the Scarborough shop. I was literally in pushing.
Oh, you got a shop in Scarborough as well.
Yeah. So I was pushing for the for that to happen, and then so what I did was I've gone to the shops and I've grabbed all the fucking envelopes like for from the artists. Gone home, and then I'm like, fuck, the banks are shut. Like, the banks are shutting tomorrow. Like, I've got all this cash. And I'm like, I can't fucking... Because, like, you got to... When you put, like, a certain amount in, you can only put in a certain amount before it fucks the whole machine for the day. So you have to keep going back. So I've got this money, and I was like, I can't remember what day it was, but I remember I had to have it for, like, a thing. So I was like, I'm worried that this money's been touched by... Like, I got a bit paranoid for a bit. So I was like... I'm wondering if this money's been touched and it's all got COVID over it. So I got out trays, like barbecue trays, filled them with Dettol, and put all the money in it.
Good. And for people overseas who don't understand, Australian money's plastic. You can do that with that money.
Yeah. So I put it all through Dettol. So all the money smelt like Dettol, and then I laid it out all on the carpet.
Full psycho shit.
Just full nutbag stuff. And I was like, what is wrong? Like, what is like wrong? But I was like, what a fucking legend. Like, I'm like, if you came round, I'm like, yeah, just fucking just washing money. Just washing the money. And I was like, fuck this. And remember, I think I called my business partner. I was telling him, I'm like, I think I'm losing the plot a bit. I was like, if I get this, I've got asthma and I can't breathe, so I'm going to die. Like, I was like, those first few weeks, I was like, oh, this is daring. I'm going to go to the shop without a mask.
I don't know anyone that got really railed by it.
I know a couple people that have, like, long symptoms of it, like that have kind of...
Like scarred fucking lungs and stuff.
Yeah, and I think a bit foggy in the brain and stuff like that. But generally, I think that most of the, at the time, I probably had about 15 workers, and we're all pretty sweet. And you know what? I didn't get it for 2 years.
I didn't get it for a long time.
Yeah, I went to fucking Fiji, came back. I remember me and Kennedy went, and she hadn't had it either. So gone to Fiji. We're on the fucking last couple of days. No, the last night or second last night. And she's like, "Oh, Dad, I'm not feeling well." And I'm like, "Oh, we'll be right. We're fucking eating buffets every day." So we go in the room. She just fucking turns and just like possessed poltergeist spews like fucking power chucks into the wall. I was like, oh, fuck. This is where being a dad's rough. So I'm like, oh, okay, you'll be right. I go over the towels, fucking trying to clean up. I'm like, oh, room service, can you come clean? Fucking, they're like, yeah, it's a fucking $20 charge. I was like, just come clean. New sheets, new fucking everything. Wow, on the bed. Fucking, here we go again.
Oh, no.
Fucking 15 minutes later, I've called him again. And then, no, actually, I didn't even call. I had to walk to the fucking reception, which was fucking ages away. So I've gone again. I was like, can you get the fucking nurse out? So in comes this huge Fijian bloke. Like, he looks like a fucking MMA fighter. And he's the nurse. And he goes, stands back, and he's like, I think she has COVID. And I'm like, okay, like, what are we going to do? And he's like, here's some Panadol. That'll be $20. And then the call-out's $150. I was like, this is getting fucking expensive. And then he's like, here's some Hydrolyte. That'll be fucking $30 or something. I was like, fuck, like, here's a box of it.
He's like, she'll be fine.
Yeah, and I was like, fuck, this is an expensive night. So I'm obviously, like, super, like, concerned. Fucking spews on everything a couple more times. I'm like, this, like, the only hope for that room is to burn it down, because she spewed 50 times and COVIDed every fucking wall in there. Then we've gone and gone for breakfast the next morning. She sits down. I'm like, okay, well, when you're sick, eat oranges. Get some vitamin C into you. Get some fruit into you. So I'm like, have some orange juice. Eat some fruit. So I've got her some fruit. She's eating all the fruit. Go to get into the fucking line for the boat back to the mainland. Just like power spews, like fluoro orange. I'm like, stand there, everyone's helping, fucking thing. I'm like, fuck, she's got COVID and everyone's helping her. So then we get to the hotel, and I'm like, sweet, this next hotel's like one night till we go back. And I was like, oh, this will determine how sick she is. Because there's water slides, and she loves water slides. And we get there, and I was like, there's water slides. She's like, I'm too sick, I just want to go to bed. I was like, okay. We get on the fucking plane the next morning.
No.
And I'm like, oh, I'm feeling fucking rough. And I was like, started to sweat. And I was like, oh, fuck, okay. And I was like, okay, let's get about an hour to land in Adelaide. And I'm fucking spewing like a fucking demon. And so I'm going home to mum's, laid on the couch. I've called Qantas, and I'm like, originally, if you said you had COVID, you could get away with anything. Like, you go, I've got COVID, I need to cancel my flight, I need to get on the next one. They'd be like, sure, we can help you. Or like fucking hotel bookings or dinner bookings or whatever. It was like, you get out of jail free card. I've got COVID. I call Qantas, and they're like, nah, you need to get a doctor's certificate. And I was like, well, I've got fucking 2 hours to my flight. They're like, yeah, no, there's nothing we can do. You've just got to get on your flight. And I remember I just like got onto the flight like a zombie, and I said to the lady, I was like, I'm really sick. I'm probably going to like sit on the floor of the bathroom the whole time. And she goes, oh, okay. It was a thing on the plane where like they were like felt so sorry for me. I literally go back to my seat, and Kennedy's like got fucking drinks in front of her, snacks. She's fine. I was like, fucking, you've just made me so sick. So then when I got home, we COVID tested, and we both had it. So we just super spreaded it all across Fiji and all the way back to Adelaide, took it to Aldinga. Or like Aldinga probably hadn't been hit too hard by that point.
I fucking just couldn't get it for ages. Got to the point where I wanted to get it just to fucking get it over with.
Oh, I thought I was invincible. I was like, the fucking champ is here.
But I just wanted to get it over with.
Yeah.
But then I fucking got it. The first time I got it, I breezed through it so good. But the second time I got it, it fucking nailed me. Like only for like 2 days where I had like a massive headache. But then I was fine.
Well, I think if there was any form of other pandemic, I think the best way to get it would to go to Colonnades and lick the escalator rail, and you'd be sorted. You have everything. You'll fucking have shit that no one's ever heard of.
I tell you what, if Carlton win the grand final, there's going to be a fucking pandemic.
Well, the thoughts that there's a chance for Collingwood and Carlton to play in a grand final. Melbourne will look like fucking the Gaza Strip.
There'll be fucking 7 teeth in the whole crowd.
Yeah, no, there's what the fuck. Well, what's the
3 weeks, isn't it? Till final series.
Yeah, well, we still play.
Oh fuck! I thought I was playing
Hang on.
footsie.
Oh, that's why. What? Ooh.
Did they win?
No, Collingwood won.
No.
8 points.
Are you fucking
I had
kidding?
to check. I was like, fucking. When I came in here, I was like, the last quarter was starting, and they came back. Well,
They've done that like 8 times this year.
it's and Darcy Moore did a hamstring too, so that's another injury. But then they had whatever that Murphy or whatever that they thought was fucked when Dacos was last week or the week last week. He was back this week, so they've got fucking lucky there. But they've had some pretty fucking bad outs. Port have had some bad outs, but fuck.
We got Alir back this week and Jones.
How's that fucking shambles?
Yeah.
I was like, man, I when I seen it, so I've got a text Walker bet for Coleman. I put 50 on at the start of the year.
He fucking won it during that.
It's paying 52 or something, so the payout's 2,500 or something.
It's not a bad bet.
Yeah, so and it's right there. So he's 6 behind or 5 behind now. When Alir went down, I was just like,
Yes.
let's go, Tex, let's get 10. Well, he kicked 7, and Alir was seeing stars, but that was a fucking shambles. Like, how does Port... Do you know what's fucking crazy?
They got fined 100 G's.
Yeah, well, but fuck, 100 G's, what, the fucking AFL...
Drop in a bucket.
Well, the AFL going to pay it? It's AFL owns the fucking club. Like, the AFL... as far as I know, they still would. They own the licence to Adelaide. Well, I think they've granted it back to certain clubs, but the AFL owns the licences at the end of the day.
When it happened, I was at work and I was watching it, and I was like, "Oh fuck, great! Alir and Jones are going to be off the whole fucking game now." And then I look back like five minutes later,
He's on.
He's back on.
Yeah.
Like, why is he on? He was knocked out. Like he was like Justin Gaethje just fucking head kicked him.
Oh, he was full. Like he was.
He was
cold
knocked out. He was
before he hit
stiff-armed.
the ground. But you know what's funny is when they went to the football, maybe the Sunday footy show, and Kane Corns was like, "He's my personal doctor. He's this. He's a good bloke. My kids. He's like talking about his kids and shit." I'm like, no one gives a fuck that he's a good doctor to your kids.
He has a concussion.
Like Alir has concussion. If that doctor couldn't see it and sent him back out there, like he could have gone like this and he would have been like, oh,
How many
like,
fingers?
Yeah, how many fingers? 7. It's like you're back on text. Like, and they were saying all this shit. And I'm like, surely you can learn from like, and then like, because they didn't do whatever the major one is. Then the next week, anyone that went down, they're like, fucking downstairs you go.
They fucking re-signed Hinkley.
Oh, did they actually do it?
Well, they said they'd drop the news in a month, but they're not going to fucking drop it mid grand final. They're not going to say, "Oh, he's not coming back next year mid grand final week run." Oh, mid finals.
Yeah, well, I think you're not going to do it when you've lost fucking 4 in a row, or how many in a row? 3 or 4.
I honestly can see something stupid like Geelong or Richmond maybe.
Well,
Maybe
I don't
Richmond.
think Geelong can make it. I don't think Richmond can make it. I think we can.
How much would Carlton be paying for the flag? Like 28?
Fuck, it would have been heaps fucking 6 rounds ago.
Because Port's paying like 16 at the moment.
I think if you did that bet 8 rounds ago when they were sacking Vossi,
190,
it would have been psycho.
190.
There'd be some fucking Carlton psycho that's gone $1,000 on it out of nowhere. Like, I remember when Richmond won the flag that year, there were people that won fucking millions because they'd backed them in. There's those stupid cunts that go, fucking $5,000 at the start of the season. And then they go for it. It's like, if I had the balls, my Coleman bets were 50 on Darcy Fogarty, 50 on Tex. Well, Fog's fucking useless. He's fucking good.
Your cash out would be pretty good.
The cash out's at 800 at the moment, and I'm not a coward.
Right, yeah, you're going to fucking ride
Only
the whole way.
I would say this all to anyone that bets. Cashing out is for cowards.
Yeah,
You'd
you'd rather
right-
win. You'd
right.
rather win 2.5. You'd rather lose $50.
Yep.
Than not win $2.5
Exactly, and I feel like when you do that and then they win, and you're like,
motto of a true gambler.
you
That
should
is.
be just disappointed. Like I tell I've gone to the Aldinga Pokies today. I've invested.
How'd you go?
I lost 400. Okay, but I invested. My time, my effort was used, and I don't need to go again.
What was your weapon of choice? What machine?
Shogun?
The Shogun.
Yeah, like
What a fucking blast from the past.
literally, the Shogun is a man's game.
I've seen that fucking machine break people down.
I've seen it fucking ruin complete and utter lives. Where people on their Friday where they've gone in and just fucking
$2.5
They just
down.
want to play the Bricky's laptop just to throw a bit down, and they're like, "Fuck, I've just lost my whole wage." Like, but I've also seen it fucking win me thousands.
I remember I was at Adelaide Casino once and my mate won 25 G's off of Shogun on a Saturday night. On Saturday night, he was off his head too, just drunk as fuck. $5 slaps. Free spins, free spins on free spins. Next machine, free spins on free spins. He's just fucking hit like fucking 5 of those ninjas in a row or whatever it was.
Well, I remember years ago, I was playing the fucking pokies and one of my mates got off a machine. And I've gone and like, oh, I like that. I'll fucking throw some money into us playing. And fucking 5 minutes later,
You're the worst kind of human.
yeah, the jackpot comes up, $3,000. I was like, remember him walking over
Do you have to give him one? Do you have to give him like 500?
No, you do not.
You don't?
No, you do not, because you've invested your money. Like, friendships can break in situations like that. But if you're willing to give up your friendship over the pokies, you weren't a friend to begin with. So, like,
fair.
But I used to like go to the Aldinga if I was there late at night, and the crackies would come in late, and they're like rubbing them, and they're fucking, they're
poke them and shit.
Yeah, they're trying to do their magic. They're like looking at them like it's pure fucking craziness, and you like wait till they've burnt all their money, and you go, I'll put 50 in and just bet, and you're like, free games, and they're like sitting there just like, I'm going to knife you in the car park, and you're like, oh, I've got the free games. Like,
There's nothing worse than seeing someone like waiting for you to fucking get off.
because they don't have the pokies in Perth. You can.
Oh, I rinsed So you have the worst pokies in
shit
the
outs.
fucking world.
They're like,
Miles was trying to tell me about him, and I was like, in my head, I was like, I don't understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize how high you can bet on them.
yeah.
And I fucking rinsed $300 in 2 spins.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know what I was doing, and I fucking rinsed like $300 in 2 spins.
But not only that, it drops down a bunch of fucking things on a screen, and like you're like,
They don't spin.
yeah, like you know.
Why do they do? Is that to deter crackheads?
I don't know
Because then it's not rolling. It's like not as
well,
fun.
maybe like I look at it like it's like a fucking Connect 4 game or something.
Yeah,
You're
it's
like,
horrible.
You drop something down and fucking all these.
Perth Casino's nice though.
Yeah, casino's great. I go play blackjack a fair bit. I haven't lately, but I've just it was tax time. I was trying to pay tax. So gambling isn't. You got to gamble responsibly, and if I'm playing blackjack, I don't. So I just go and. Yeah, some nights I have fucking real big nights, and some nights I'll spend big and be a fucking dickhead. So, but I love blackjack, but
I like poker. It's a slow way to lose your money.
Yeah, I feel like I used to play poker a lot, but you have to sit down for too long.
It's more of a social fucking thing.
Yeah.
And I've never played for like serious money. It's always been for like just like $100, $200 buy-ins, and you have like a yarn or something.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting at a casino with randoms is probably horrible.
Yeah, but I think like with blackjack, there's so many options like doubles and splits and stuff like
There's
that.
fucking
Playing perfect
systems that
pairs.
people make so much money
Yeah,
on.
I watch so much on different systems, and certain amount like betting on certain games, waiting, betting double.
There's
like,
this bloke that he's covered in fucking tattoos all over his fucking face. I think he's got like a blacked out fucking ear or some shit as well.
that Mickey dude.
Mickey.
Yeah.
He's fucking banned from every casino in Las
He's insane.
Vegas. He's made like hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, and like people said like it's all fake, it's all this, and he's like, okay, and then shows all his documents, then calls the casinos and goes, am I banned from here? And
Why do they ban you for being successful? Because he's
Well, they don't
obviously
want you,
got
but-
he's got that good a system. It's almost rigged.
And I think like it's like the counting situation. You've just outsmarted them,
You've
And then-
won.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, okay, well, we can't allow that. That's why it's crazy when, like, I see Dana and all them kind of dudes, like, gambling like crazy, and they're, like, obviously winning fucking big time.
They're losing big, though,
Well,
too.
then they're losing big, too. Like, they're only showing you when
Yeah, I
they're
was going
winning
to say,
big.
you didn't see the night Dana probably lost, like, 17 million
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
dollars.
yeah. And then he's like, oh, fuck it. And then he's got all them his mates with him, and he's, like, throwing
Crediting
money
him.
down, yeah. And I'm like, this is nuts.
There's a video, do you know that bloke Steve will do it?
Yeah.
So there's a video of him and Dana playing blackjack, and Dana goes to the hostess. He's like, "How much is Steve in on the pokies?" And she's like, $10,000, and he's like, "You can spend $10,000
I've seen
on
that.
fucking pokies." And
Yeah.
Steve's like, "What?"
Yeah, I seen that. He was like fully ripping on him. Yeah, I think Steve's pretty good. Like as far as
He's fucking banned from everything.
yeah, everything. But like he's pretty fucking funny. But then I feel like they near. Like I'm kind of like wondering a lot of how Nelk and stuff is as big as it is when they're all pretty near lifeless humans. Like
They're very fucking bland.
Yeah, like-
without Steve on there, like I don't even know. They
Kyle?
got a podcast called
yeah, full send.
Full Send Podcast. It's fucking horrible.
Oh, it's horrible.
It's
Like,
fucking horrible.
yeah.
Did you see the thing with
If-
Andrew Schultz where
yeah, if Bradley Martin's not on there, who kind of steers this ship, they're real fucking bad.
even
because-
Bradley though, he's a fucking idiot sometimes.
Yeah. Well, when he interviews good people, I think it's hilarious because he was saying this thing the other day. He's like, everyone thinks I'm serious with these shit that comes out of my mouth. He goes, the things that come out are, he goes, I strategically say
Playing
them.
a character.
Yeah, he goes, I say him because he goes, I say to Nate Diaz, how do you think we'll go in a fight? And then Nate Diaz is like I beat the shit out of you or whatever Nate said. I can't remember what he exactly said. You put that on TikTok
It blows up.
and you've got millions of views and you're making fucking bank.
Yeah, I was saying this the other day. I was like, there's no way he could be fucking serious about him thinking he could win a
No.
fight against Mike Perry. or like,
But you say these little things that become a fucking real and you're just cashing in because you cannot buy like the memes and the talk about it and all
Yeah.
that. You can't buy that. You can't buy
even
that
if
much
it's bad,
traction.
even if people are hating
Yeah.
on you, that's
Yeah.
better.
Well, because it's getting views.
Well,
And-
hate's more addictive than fucking praise.
And then it's like, and then they're like, everyone's writing on it, so then it keeps it in the fucking algorithm. And like I've seen it 50 times on Instagram, like on different people's pages, and it's like this is just sending people to his Instagram, which making him more money. It's like, it's pretty like some of those things are genius.
Nelk really blew up when when Steve's earlier videos, like when he was Steve will do it on YouTube, and he was like fucking sculling 2 bottles of vodka and then smoking like a ounce of fucking weed and just doing crazy shit. That's when they blew up, and then I think they make most of their money from that Happy Dad. That drink.
Yeah. That seems to be. I feel like all of those fucking things is they do something until it's time to sell, and then they make the fucking cash.
It's like Logan Paul. He's going to be a billionaire when he sells Prime.
Oh, 100%. Well, and they don't even own that much of it.
Really?
Like, yeah, I think they own 10% each.
Oh, so they're not majority shareholders.
No, or maybe they own 20% each, and someone holds the majority share, whatever the parent company is.
distributor or whatever.
Yeah.
It is.
So they've gone, hey, we've got this brand.
You build it.
You build it, yeah, or you get behind it. And I think
we'll
maybe
promote it.
they might even have had the name even before as well.
No shit.
So they've gone in, and I read about it the other day about the sale of certain things. And there's definitely some drink brands that have sold for fucking a lot of money.
Prime's massive.
Well, I think it was Under Armour or one of them that has a drink brand or Body. Maybe it was Body.
Body Armor, the one that used to be partnered with the UFC, but now it's Prime.
Yeah, that sold for $3 billion. Yeah, to Coke. So and Coke just
They just absorb every company.
Coke just buys whatever the fuck they want. They're like, well, we've got more money than all of
It's
you.
like Pirate Life down here.
Well, they sell it.
Yeah, Pirate Life was a family business, and then Asahi bought them.
How much?
Schweppes bought them. No one knows, but in like the hundreds of millions, apparently. Allegedly. Yeah, just some fucking local family brewers.
Fuck yeah! I think there's one in Perth.
I actually went to Pirate Life in Perth. I got my tooth knocked out there when I was at the UFC with Adam
on your coward weekend.
Me and Adam and
you sound like you had a big weekend. You got choked out by someone. You had your tooth knocked out.
me and Miles had a slap fight because I was watching Power Slap, and I was like, "Let's do it, old man." And we were all at the pub, and the pub did not know how to handle us because there was just this group of degenerates from Adelaide just drinking all day. And Adam was behind me, and I was slapped Miles, and he fucking moved his head, which is against the rules, so I won the fight. But
so you beat Miles in a fight.
Yeah, technically.
Claim it. Just put it on Instagram.
He's fucking
1-0.
He's slapped me, and I have not flinched, but I got knocked out clean. I was like, oh, and Adam caught me, and I got back up, and I was like drinking my beer, and I was like, and my fucking back of my tooth just fell out.
Did everyone just lose it laughing?
Yeah.
Oh my!
I lost my fucking tooth. That was this first day in Perth.
I just had one. I just had a fucking wisdom tooth pulled out.
Is that horrible? Oh, I've got to do mine.
Fucked. I just had that, and I just had another one where I got hit in the fucking head years and years, a long time ago.
Do you train any? Because you like fight sports.
Trained Muay Thai for fucking ages, but I just haven't been training because I fucked my shoulder. So I was training at Legends, which is Daniel Dawson, his gym. So I trained there for ages. And then just fucking injuries. Well, just old age. So my shoulder's been fucked. Haven't trained much haven't trained.
Did touring destroy your body a little bit?
I think a combination of touring and football and wakeboarding and fucking snowboarding and all of it. So like, I haven't wakeboarded as much in the last few years, but I used to constantly, and I like water skied a lot when I was a little kid because my parents had boats, and then just wakeboarding is fucked. You launch a whole fucking wake, you land on the other side, your fucking legs crumble, and then you fucking go across and do it again.
Yeah, I don't fuck with any of those sports.
It's like you like fucking. You gotta think like you go behind a boat and you fucking launch yourself. Sometimes you fucking as high, if not higher than the boat itself. And you like go to the other side of the wake and you just go bang. And you're like, well, there's my knee again. Like I did my ACL in football. Yeah, and then my shoulder's been like I've had like fucking acupuncture and fucking vibration shit in it and fucking cupping and all sorts and just trying to get it right.
You need that good, the testosterone.
Well, the test isn't working, I'm telling you.
Stem cells, maybe.
Yeah, I think that, or there's a peptide.
Oh, is there?
So, yeah. So, I haven't stopped taking tests for forever. I couldn't tell you when. Like, I've been on a dosage, like a prescribed dosage for fucking at least a couple of years.
Yeah, right.
Like, it's all from a doctor.
Yeah, you're only 26.
Fucking 400. I was 406 before I started getting the test. But yeah, I just went and got bloods, and they were like, you just got low test, and they thought that, especially with my asthma, with training, with injuries and so forth, it would be better to have a top up. So it's not much. I think it's a meal every fucking few weeks.
Oh, so it's not much.
A meal every 2 weeks. Yeah. So which isn't.
That's pretty low.
Yeah,
that would just maintain you to like a normal level.
Maintain, and then if I fucking if I have the choice, I'll try and get this fucking peptide that I literally heard Rogan talking about it, and I was like, "Oh, that sounds good."
Sold.
Yeah, just fucking jab me already. But yeah, I think. And you know what? Like I've read a lot about when I was finding out about TRT and stuff like that, about like how it does help, like when you like it helps even with mental health stuff. Like as far as I feel like when I wasn't trained, I feel massively when it comes to like training. I feel like because I was injured or I wasn't training very well and I was super deflated and just kind of like plodding along,
lethargic,
full lethargic. Obviously when you're in that kind of state, you get very down in the dumps. So then when I did get that top up and started training more and more, I feel like training in any form, whether it be MMA or fucking Muay Thai or boxing or fucking jits or fucking gym or running or whatever, it's getting you out there and keeping you moving and busy, which is such a good fucking thing for you, because when you're not doing, and like especially when it comes to music, there's this fucking high and then there's an awful low when it's all said and done. So then I feel like I replaced touring and whatnot, and I trained a lot when I was in a band, but then I went from like maybe training a couple times a week to just going to the gym every day just to keep me busy, or walking the coast every day and stuff like that. So I had this high part of life, which was like, I'm on top of the fucking world. I'm singing to people and touring fucking all over the place and whatever. And then it's like, it's done.
Yeah, I was gonna. Was it hard for you to like assimilate to not having that feeling anymore when it was all said and done?
Yeah, because I feel like I started to get real down in the dumps around 2016 maybe.
So fairly relatively recently.
Yeah, I was like, fuck it. What am I going to do? Like, there's only so long I can sing into this mic and do okay. And then me and my business partner were talking about stuff at a dinner, like having dinner one night, and I was like, should just do a tattoo shop. I said, let's fucking, the town we're in and whatever, I said, like, there's not much on my side of the city. I said, let's just try and do one. We'll do it in Joondalup, which is like right near where I was living at the time. There's only one other shop in that area, in like an industrial area. So I started fucking looking, and before that, I heard, before I started looking, I heard that this other shop was for sale. So I went in and had a yarn to him. He told me the number and whatnot, and I was like, knew a bit about the guy, and I knew that he was pretty eager to sell because of life issues and business issues and so forth. So I was like, I'll give you 20 grand for it, and then that's that. Well, I didn't even get the full amount to him because like we got gave him 10. It was a bit of a fuck around with the lease and some other shit and him selling, and it was out of Westfield. And so then Westfield were pushing back against it and all this other stuff. And then we'd signed the lease that they gave us and then someone else came out and was like, kind of wanted the spot. And then I was like, okay, well, we're going to need to make a deal because we've signed, you've given us this lease, but you want the spot for a bank. And I was like, we need a payout. So then I gave him the number I wanted. I'd never been in this kind of business scenario before. Had no idea about leases. I literally bluffed. And they came back and they paid us out.
Really?
And I was like, fuck.
It worked.
I wish I sort of fucking said more.
I wish I started higher.
Yeah, I wish I fucking put it up a bit. But I was pretty conservative. I was like, I need just under 100,000 or so forth to do a fit out. So we're at about that. So then they fucking few weeks went by, they paid the number out. So we were probably only there for 2 months. And it somehow ended up going from fucking spending 10 grand to having fucking enough to do a fit out. So I was like, fuck. And I said to the bloke, I was like, man, you fucked us around, blah, blah. We don't even have a business there. We bought nothing off you. We've ended up with this. Like, we've had to make a deal. Didn't tell him anywhere near what the number was. Then found the Joondalup shop. Started with 4 artists. And then it was up to 6. And then I put the barbers in. And I had this whole plan of tattoo and barber shop. And then came about a year in. And then another person came from another shop and was like, I want to come across. And I was like, sure. And then he goes, I think a few of the girls want to come too. And I was like, yeah, cool. Like, if they want to have a chat, send them in. No, one of the girls. He goes, one of the girls wants to come over chat. So I was like, yeah, I'll meet up with her. Messaged her. She messaged me. She's like, yeah, I'll meet you at 5. And so I was like, cool. Comes to the shop. Fucking 4 other artists with her. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like,
we're going to need a bigger boat.
Yeah, we all want out. And I was like, I don't have enough spots. I was like, just do another shop. So then went and looked at another lease, called the same fucking landlord that I used. He fucking found me another shop, and within a month I'd done the fit out and good to go again. And then, so from what started with fucking absolutely nothing, somehow by 2017, I'm just thinking of the time frame. By 2017, I had 2 tattoo shops from fucking 12 or 13 tattoo artists. And I was like, oh, this is all right. Like, we're fucking doing well. And so then I started, like, looking at Scarborough. So 2019, I was looking and going to meet with people and kept getting fucking told no, and, like, real hard. So we've been in Warwick and stuff for a good year or two, a couple of years. And then Joondalup was, like, thriving. And then I was like, I want to be in Scarborough. I'm going to fucking do this. And then kept getting told no. And then I remember 2020, January of 2020, I've called for this spot. And I've gone in and the fucking landlord comes and he's cancelled on me. He's like, I've driven there. And he's like, man, can't come. No, the real estate agent can't come. Fucking real sick. I said, man, I've just driven fucking 50 minutes. You've told me 5 minutes before you can't come. And I was like, just fucking come down here and stand at a distance. I just want to have a look in, see what I can do. If I can make this work, like, we can do a deal. And he's like, okay, comes down. He's in fucking boardies. He's got a singlet on. He's fucking hungover. He's just had a big night. And I'm like, fucking hell. And he goes, oh, fuck, I had a big night. Like, I'm fucked. And he's probably still probably had a few still in the morning. So he was, and then we were yarning. I was like, let's just make this deal happen. Like, this is the number I'm at. Told him the lease number. He's like, yeah, cool. We'll get it going. Well, then we're fucking on the verge of the lease being done. March swings around. We go into a fucking pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, fucking hold it. Like, let's hold. Let's just hold for a bit. Got to back open by June-ish, and we started the process again. And I was like, fucking trying to hold them off as long as I could. And then we opened that one by January of the next year.
Yeah.
So that was by January 2021. We're open for a couple of days, lockdown. Then we'll fucking only close for a couple of days, and then after that we'll like smooth sailing. So then that's when kind of like we started with 5 artists in there, and then ended up with like, now it's 1, 2. There's probably about 6 Brazilians in that shop.
Brazilians?
Yeah. Louis, another bloke's, was born in Mexico but lived in California for a long time. Seb's Chilean. And then there's a Colombian bloke at Joondalup, and then my new shop, which is in Leaderville, which is like right near the city.
Is that the one you're working on now?
Yeah, that's the one that's going to like good to go probably by next week. There's, I think, a Colombian bloke, a Chilean bloke, maybe someone's Brazilian. Like, it's pretty South American, a bunch of dudes, which is cool because you're getting these all sorts of different culture, different aspect, like just more so
different styles.
No, not even different styles, just different walks of life. And it's cool to hear how they grew up, you know, like you can see these people busting their fucking asses and tattooing like crazy because maybe they didn't come from much money, you know, like us Australians, we've had it pretty fucking good. Like, whereas a lot of these people are from poorer areas.
Yeah, especially like South America and shit like that.
Fully. South America's
it's
like
legitimately the jungle.
It's either fucking rough or people like there's a real divide
Yeah.
between the lower class and the high.
There's no middle class.
Yeah. It's really nuts to hear, and like, and just learning about the different, especially from the Brazilians. I love fucking. We go in there because there's so many like dudes that come in and they're like, oh, that guy's a fucking black belt, like that. It's all dudes that train. So we start Mondays where either me and Kim, the fucking barista, are talking about footy, or we're talking about fights with everyone. Like, especially when there's big fights on, like if Charles fights or something like that, like the Brazilians are up and about. Like
That would be so sick to get into the fights with, like, to get chatting with the fights with Brazilians.
Oh yeah, and they all like it's funny because
Fucking can't wait for Makachev and Oliveira.
Charles, yeah, that'll be sick. But you know what's funny is, and I'm probably fucking calling him out, but the fucking barista does jiu-jitsu like fucking. He's been going heaps, and he's like competed and stuff. And one of the barbers doesn't train, but has trained. And they were like, oh yeah, let's fucking go, blah, blah, blah. He got his back and choked him within like fucking 10 seconds. And I was dying. I was like, he doesn't even train anymore. And then like, we just start talking. They're like, oh, I've got a blue belt. I've got this. I've got that. And I'm like, hang on, has everyone got a fucking belt of some sort? And everyone's kind of like trained when they were young.
Yeah.
And so like now a lot of them are like, they're all kind of getting back into it. But then they come into work and they're all like, oh, my fucking arm, my leg.
Jiu-jitsu's not a gentle sport.
Nah, Kim came in the other day and he's just got a fucking
Collie.
ball on his ear. And he's like so sore. And then a few of the other Brazilian dudes who are like trainers at different gyms, they're like, oh, just get a fucking needle. And they're like, we'll do it. Like, and I'm like, we're not doing this in the shop. Like,
That's so good.
I was like, this is horrible. I was like, actually looking like, this is fucking horrible. And my statement was, if you just cut your ears off, you wouldn't have this problem. Like, if you just had chopper reed, just missed the top, just cut the top off a bit, you wouldn't have these fucking issues.
So it sounds like these tattoo parlours kind of like fulfill that kind of part of your life now.
Well, the thing with the shops is tattooists are very much like musicians. They're
Artists.
Yeah, like they're fragile, they're different, they're running their own race, they're fucking up, they're down, they're precious, they can be egotistical. The people have to kind of understand that you've got a tattoo artist that could be on 150, like they could be making $100 an hour just straight into their pocket, getting cash. You know, like they're on a fucking amount. Like say they're doing fucking long days. Some of them could make $1,000 a day. Like, you know, like say we're doing flash days and stuff, and some of them were like fucking making $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 for the fucking day, like, which is like obviously
that's a doctor's wage.
Yeah, like obviously the fucking
more than a doctor.
Obviously the business gets money too, but at the end of the day, like they're walking away with a good amount of money in a very better environment than say working in the mines or fucking digging holes for the council or fucking playing in a band or like, you know,
and they're
like
almost their own boss.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I've always said to everyone as far as the business goes is like, I'll provide the place for you to work. You create your own business and your own brand inside the walls, because they can build themselves up as not only as a tattoo artist but a brand where they can have art or they can sell T-shirts or they can
build a community.
Yeah, they can build such a following behind them. Like there's artists that are like sell a fuckload of flash, and like I'll buy prints off my friends and artists I've seen and place like if I went into a fucking tattoo shop in fucking Germany or wherever I was walking around, I'd be like, you got any prints for sale? And I'd just buy stuff because I'm gonna put it on the wall somewhere in one of the shops, you know. So I just had a mate come that just did a guest spot, and I think maybe he's in SA at the moment. But yeah, my mate Sam came and just did a thing, and like he left and he like sent me an email just with like some prints in the email. He's like, print whatever you want.
That's sick.
Because I've got fucking like obviously a printing business as well. So I can just print a bunch of shit, put it in all the shops, and like these are prints he probably sells for $150.
Do they all share the same name, your tattoo parlours?
So everyone, the 3 are called Against the Grain, obviously, and then the other one is called Cartel Renaissance or Renaissance, however you want to say it.
The new one?
Yeah, which is kind of, we want it to be like my friend Chris, who's doing it, who I'm doing it with. He's a bit more inspired by Chicano kind of stuff, a bit more like rap influence, gangster influence, stuff
realism.
like that. Yeah, more realism stuff, a lot of script, a lot of, and he's kind of in his own fucking lane. He's real good, and then we're going to have those kind of artists around. We might get a couple of people doing different stuff, obviously, because doing pretty floral kind of stuff's pretty big at the moment, especially we had a girl with us for a few years, and she does like flowers and
a fine line.
No, not even so much fine line. Just I used to say she's a florist because the flower style stuff was like big roses and big stuff like that. But she'd do full fucking backs.
Yeah, right.
There's like a fucking florist shop.
Yeah,
and
right.
It's just gnarly.
People love that.
Yeah, and chicks just love it. Like chicks getting full back jobs. And I'm like, that's where I think a lot of the tattoo world changed. It was like men getting fucking tribal dragons on their arm at Christie's Beach Tattoo, and then like they're fucking, when I was a kid, like people were getting the only people that had fucking tattoos were criminals that like played in the B grade for Aldinga. Like it was literally
it wasn't as common.
It wasn't as common. And then as I got older, I was going to a place called trying to think, it was on Anzac Highway.
Tattoo parlour?
Yeah, the Ink Pit. And I went there for my first tattoo, and that was kind of like a good shop, but there was like 2 or 3 artists there. And then everyone went to another place with a guy called Shep.
Shep.
Yeah, who was like real good artist, and I can't remember what that place was called. And then as time went on, more and more, and it was a bit more like fucking motorcycle club related back in the days, you know.
Front Yard was the first like insane parlour that Adelaide had.
Was that Mount
Front Yard's
Mount Barker
was Bummers.
Was it Mount Barker?
Yeah. Now it's called Sajiko.
Yeah. So when that kind of thing, and that was just fucking crazy. And then as time's gone on, not only the realism thing took off, but I noticed when like a lot more floral stuff and the fine line stuff and whatever, a lot more girls were getting tattooed.
Heaps.
And that kind of became like, it near doubled or more in the space of in the time that I've had tattoo shops, which is near 8 years. The amount of girls getting tattooed is huge. Crazy. And it's so fucking, I just think it's so fucking cool to come in there sometimes and like, chicks are getting fucking full sleeves or full backs and stuff like that, because especially gone are the days where it's like only men would be tattooists. Like there wasn't many. There was a lot of more. There was female tattooists. Like don't get me wrong, but there seemed to be like way more men.
It was a male dominated industry.
And then nowadays, like my Scarborough shop has four female artists, two men, and then at one point there was more female artists at Scarborough, and then Tammy went home back to Scotland. Someone else moved to another shop and stuff like that. But we've got pretty much equal amount of female artists as men.
My favourite tattoo artist is a female.
And the one thing that's crazy is when I put out the thing for apprentices, it's honestly 90% females will apply, and their work so much. It just seems like so much better presented. Like man, dudes will send shit and it's like
drawing on a
it's
napkin.
a bunch of fucking drawings on a bit of paper, and then we always say to people when they come in, present your stuff, like do flash sheets, do everything on, whether it be on paper or iPad or whatever, have everything presented well. And then, like, no offense to blokes, because I'm a pretty messy, kind of unorganized dude besides my business, doesn't seem as organized. Yeah. Doesn't seem as together.
Females are more like well presented.
Way better presented, and that's kind of boosted tattooing by fucking so crazy because, I think there's just more of an attention to detail maybe.
And they're they're cleaner and there's more attention to detail. Yeah. Like the little things matter with women a lot more than it does with men.
Yeah, and I think that's why like fine line, it's a delicate kind of thing where...
And mandala and shit like that. A lot of females love to do mandalas.
Mandalas became... That was another fucking...
That's a tribal tattoo of white people.
100%. It's like the modern tribal.
That's white people tribal.
Literally, it's like... I always said, I'm like, when is this shit going to die out?
It doesn't.
And then people go, this is... But it's not going to.
People love shapes.
Yeah. Like, I looked at the Instagram last night and one of the girls was doing like a fucking big back job and it was just all mandalas. And I was like, this has been years. Like, this has probably been 5 years of this shit being like popular as fuck. And
I got my armpits done.
Dude, it's killed.
Yeah, I got them in the same day though. And I fucked up because then I couldn't lower my arms for like 3 days because I swell up heaps.
That's fucked.
Yeah.
I couldn't even do it. Like I think that's the only spot I'm not going to be able to do.
It's not that bad. The afterwards is worse.
No, do you know what?
The healing's horrible.
I can't handle people touching me under my arms. I'm super...
Oh, it's not like a tickle.
I'm super ticklish, like bad.
Yeah, fuck.
So it's like there's not much I can fucking...
I'm currently searching to get... Because I've got a full bodysuit, but I'm currently going to cap... I didn't do my arms. So I saved my arms till last.
Yeah.
And I'm looking for someone to do my arms now.
What style?
I want colour realism. Full colour. Oh, I don't want full... I want like... You know when it's 70% grey wash and then there's massive pops of vibrant colour throughout? That's what I want. But I want it in realism.
But would you travel to do it?
Yeah. I'm looking to travel to do it. I'm looking to spend... these are going to cost me... These are going to be my most expensive tattoos, I feel. I want a DMT, like Joe Rogan-y DMT type sleeve. And I really want a picture of Bruce Buffer saying, "It's time."
That's so good. Like, I feel like there's so many artists.
It's so hard. There's one in Perth that I was looking at. He does really cool work. His name's Jack or
Jackson.
Jackson.
I was literally like going to say, like someone like Jackson's or
excellent.
That Andrew.
Perth has great tattooists, by the way.
There's another dude. I think it's like. It's Andrew Smith maybe, like a dude in Melbourne that does realism. There's so many fucking people. There's another guy called Kale, which is another...
Khalil. Yeah, I got onto him yesterday.
Yeah, he's like another one that's wild, like especially that style.
That Jackson's got such a cool style,
Jackson's
so odd.
Jackson's a good dude. Like, he's a fucking real good dude. Does... a lot of cool basketball kind of stuff. Yeah. Like a lot of fucking basketball tattoos over the time.
He does a lot of cool pop culture-y kind of things in general.
And then there's another a dude called Peter Schuker, another Perth dude.
There's heaps of good tattooists in Perth.
There's fucking...
Because it's a big place.
And you know what with me is like I own obviously a bunch of shops, but I'll like people I know and like I'm friends with, like I'll fucking shout them out if they're fucking wild, you know.
Yeah,
like
you don't
it's
want to
like
be that kind of guy.
My mate, like I was saying about my mate Sam, like Sam Clark, who's fucking...
Did he just do a guest spot at...
He's somewhere here. So he was with us and then he's back. I think he might be in the what shop Bummer was in, maybe, in like Port Pirie or whatnot.
Yeah, that name sounds familiar.
Yeah, so Sam's insane. Like he's literally like one of the OG fucking neo-trad dudes in the country.
I do like a bit of neo-trad.
Yeah, like he was doing it first. He tattooed me fucking 10 years ago. Like, and he's driving around Australia and doing tats and fucking literally hanging with his family and doing the coolest shit. Like he literally posts some tattoos or his kids at a beach and
just living the dream.
Just full living this like nomadic lifestyle. It's like fuck, I wish I could do more like that, but I'm not at the point now. My kid's too big, and she'd probably be bored with the drives.
The phone will die.
Yeah, the phone will die. Like, it's... So then there's just so many good artists across the country, and the level...
Australian tattooing's fucking crazy.
Nuts. And
that Benjamin Laukas used to live here. He's in Athens now, but he's one of the best in the world.
As far as I know, Ben and Joel from Amity grew up together.
Yeah,
like,
right.
I think they were in the early days. I think they were doing graffiti and stuff, and like, because Joel was a graffiti dude, I'm pretty sure I remember us talking about it years ago. And then he's obviously top. I think he's at the top of Australian artists. I think he's the king of it. Him and fuck, I'm just trying to think. Matt, another dude that's from Melbourne, but now lives.
Were they from the same parlour? What was the parlour called that they all worked at?
This
in
dude
Melbourne,
from Empire, maybe.
Oh, that's gonna piss me off now.
Yeah, I think then there's like fucking dudes like that mayonnaise dude who does
mayonnaise. The script
dude.
Fuck,
like,
he's good, bro.
Insane. It's like the level of stuff, and that's why like it's cool to see even the artists that are at my shop. Like the over the 8 years, you watch people go from like in the early stages of a career
to excellent,
to like crazy good, and you're like, how are you even doing that? Like, I look at some people's shit someday, and I'm just like,
where did this come from?
Yeah, and you know what? Like, some people are like, they'll be doing 500 mandalas, and they'll do fucking 500 fucking like random fucking different tattoos, and then they'll do something that's like some crazy realism, and I'm like, why don't you do more of that? Oh, you know, I like doing flowers, or I like doing mandalas, or I like doing fucking lettering, and then they'll do something that's like complete curveball, and you're like, you're really fucking good at that thing as well. It's not what they like to do. And like, I was having a chat with, I can't remember what artist from what shop, but they're more in a stage where they're like, I just want to tattoo what I want to tattoo.
That's
like, that's fair enough. Like, that's what you want to do.
One thing with like the bigger tattooists, it's really, I'm fine because I want good names on my arms, like from good tattooists. A lot of the higher end tattooists don't give a fuck what you want. They're like,
they're just like, this is what you get.
These are my stipulations. Yeah. This is what you're getting. It's going to be a horror sleeve.
Yeah.
I don't want a fucking horror sleeve.
And you know what? Like, if they're at that point of their career,
they're allowed to do. I'm not ripping on them. Like, good on them.
Yeah.
But it's like you need to get their permission for them to tattoo you.
And I look at it like this as well.
It's like, a piece of art.
If you said to Parkway Drive or fucking whoever the band is, or Prom Queen or whatever, they'll be like, or whatever band may be, play this song off the fucking EP that you released in 01 or 03 or 05. Do you want to play that song again? Because you've played that song 5,000 times.
Are you sick?
Certain songs that you're like, fuck, I don't want to play that song again. That's the same for a tattoo artist. Why would you want to do another fucking clock? You've done 5,000 fucking clocks that all look exactly the same, or you've done 5,000 fucking roses that all look the same, or you've done 5,000 fucking portraits of fucking Pablo Escobar or some fucking cunt, you know?
Rosary beads.
Yeah. Like, you've done all this shit, and it's like, I've seen artists before going, no more fucking clocks, no more watches, no more fucking this, that, and the other, because they've done fucking 5,000 of them, and it's the same kind of thing. If you've done something 1,000,000 times, well, you don't want to do it all again. Like, when you say someone came to me and they're like, write a song like this, why would I write a song like that? It's already there. Like, when people go, oh, Parkway Drive did this with this album, I want it to be like the Horizons album. Well, the Horizons album's still there. It hasn't gone anywhere.
Go listen to that.
Go listen to that. what they're doing now is because they're 40-year-old men. They're not 25-year-old angry fucking Byron Bay dudes.
Yeah.
And it's the same, I think, with any form of art. It's like, as someone matures, say you put a fucking painter when they're 20 to what they're painting to maybe what they're painting in 40, it's probably two different fucking things.
Different people.
Yeah, and the same goes for tattoo artists. You might have someone that was a fucking traditional artist when they were 20, doing fucking American-style trad or whatever. And then when they're fucking older, they're like, I'm just doing fucking lettering, or I'm doing fucking realism, or I'm doing, like, maybe they've gone from traditional to Japanese, because I've seen that a lot over time.
Japanese tattoos also is another fucking really good one I've thought about.
Yeah, and then, so do you want to go back and go, well, I better start doing trad again when you've been tattooing Japanese for 10 years? I listened to a real good podcast with Reece Gordon the other day with from Little Tokyo, the tattoo shop in Sydney, and was not only talking about the just learning Japanese and being a tattooist for a good, I think it was fucking 30 years or so. He's a real old dude, and like one of the best people to probably do Japanese in the country. He was talking about tattooing Yakuza people, doing it in Japan, traveling the world, living on fuck all, being in tattoo shop situations that were maybe a bit more like run by gangsters or football hooligans and stuff. So like listening to the story, I'm like, it's fucking cool to hear about certain areas, places, countries, and how certain people that ran or tattooed or like, because the old school days, it was like fucking old thugs tattooing and old bikies or fucking whatever.
Yeah.
It's real old school, but like that's part of the history as well. So I like hearing those stories and I love to think like, and people go, oh, the fucking thing, but the history of tattooing, like I feel like the days where shops were fucking going up and thing, it's still part of the history. It's still part of like what happened and what people had to do to be in this world. And although we're a long way away from all that stuff, it's still fucking. I look and hear about some of the stories. I'm like, fuck, that sounds wild.
There's an awesome documentary on YouTube you can watch. I'm pretty sure it's called Mark of Death. It's a Yakuza traditional Japanese tattooing doco, and it just follows this group of Yakuza in real time and their tattooists, and it's just like a doco. Yeah. So fucking cool, bro. Yeah. They have the coolest history with tattooing.
I remember we're on a plane. I can't remember, it might have been flying to America, and this old dude was like fucking real old, like rich looking dude. This is probably 04, 05. And I remember looking and seeing him, and like I seen all this shit like pull up, and you could see he was really tattooed. And like I always used to wonder, I'm like, pretty rare for a Japanese dude like back then to have,
if he's old,
to be old and just covered like inside a suit, you know, like have a bodysuit under your fucking suit you got on. And I used to think, I'm like, fuck, like there's no way that guy would get into America nowadays. But like that was back when like the Yakuza were like the top dogs of fucking Japan, and nothing happened without them, you know.
They loved I went to Japan recently, and I was asking locals about it, and they loved the Yakuza over there
because they had control.
The government fucking hated them.
Yeah.
And I only saw one, because I walked past this dude, older dude, covered in fucking tattoos, just no hands, and he was missing the little strip there for his kimono, and he was missing his finger. Oh, yeah. Because he fucking gave it to his old boss. He obviously left the Yakuza. Yeah. And when they do that, I'm pretty sure they cut off their pinky. Yeah. And he was missing one of his fingers. Yeah.
So wild.
So when you leave the Yakuza, you got to fucking cut your finger off and give it to your boss.
Yeah, or what's the other thing if you fuck up?
Yeah, you got to give him one of your fingers.
That's so crazy.
Apparently it's not too bad. You just get hell drunk and you fucking... the shot kind of pulls through.
Fuck. That could have been your trip to Perth if you kept going.
Fuck, maybe
if you weren't the coward, like you've been said.
That might be Sydney.
Maybe that's why you didn't cut off a finger. So that's maybe why he's doubting your weekend there.
That's all right. We always got Sydney.
That's where you're at.
That's where we're going.
If you fucking whoever loses a finger's had the best weekend.
Yeah, fuck yeah. I'm sure you would. I'm surprised no one lost a finger or something when you. Oh, you were still a partier even though you weren't a drinker.
Nah, well, I think most of the tour stuff, like JJ and Sean, were like crazy fucking partying all the time. I think me, Jonah, and Kev went to sleep a lot of the time because we were so tired, and because I had to sing every night and Jonah had to sing, we were always pretty struggling. And then when it came to confession, I would like show up and like we'd be flying somewhere and the band had literally not gone to sleep. They'd be like, "Oh no, we've been out all night. We've come straight from a club." And like I remember Shane that played drums in Confession. He drummed in Prom Queen in the later years as well. Him and Dan were at fucking Melbourne Airport, and they were just sitting there like fucking hammered, and there's like 50 fucking cheeseburgers around them, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" They're like, "We're giving away cheeseburgers." So people are walking in, and they're like, "Do you want a cheeseburger?" And people are like, "What the fuck are these two degenerate-looking drunks doing?" Well, they got paid to DJ some nightclub.
That's fucking
so they
hilarious.
spent all the money on cheeseburgers. Like, how many cheeseburgers is this going to give us? So people are showing up at the airport like 5 a.m. They're laying on the floor fucking hammered. And
Just
I'm like,
throwing around cheeseburgers.
Just giving cheeseburgers. I was like, I'll fully take a cheeseburger, but get the fuck up. Like, they're not going to let us on the plane.
Do you have like a top 3 metalcore bands?
Yeah, I think Parkway Drive, Hatebreed. Who would be third? Probably Killswitch, I reckon.
Killswitch are so fucking good.
Yeah, I think as far as influential thing of time.
Are Killswitch still together?
Yeah. I think it's just my favourite era was fucking when Howard was in the band. Was like I feel like they're at their peak. Like I feel like when they did the Holy Diver and the album. Like, I'm so bad with album names of fucking every band. But that era of, like, 2003, 4, 5-ish, they were just at the top. Like, them and Hatebreed, but probably Hatebreed a little bit earlier, was just fucking... Whew, it's just crazy. When I think about it, I'm like... I remember I seen Hatebreed in 01 or 02, and it was just, like, the biggest thing. I was like, this is where you want to be. And then when you still watch it now, like you watch them like play now, it's like they're still on top. Like they may not be as big as a Parkway Drive or Bring Me the Horizon or Architects or fucking whatever, but without that band, those like Hatebreed walked so everyone else could run after them. Like I feel like they were the stepping stone of bands. So it was like, no, you can be big and you can be on a big label and you can be on fucking TV shows and whatever they had their songs on the soundtracks for, and you can be on all the big festivals. So then it gave Parkway, probably Bring Me and all those bands, like even when I was in Bury Your Dead, it gave bands this hope that, well, we could get there too. So as you watch these bands become the biggest fucking, like, Killswitch and Hatebreed become two of the biggest bands in heavy music at the time, it gave all these up-and-coming bands this hope that they could get there too. So
that it wasn't just like an impossible dream.
Nah. Like, you're watching you kind of like, I feel like we were kind of like in a passenger seat watching metalcore and hardcore get ginormous, and we were like, fuck, we want it all too. Like, just because we're living in fucking Aldinga or Byron Bay, it doesn't mean it can't happen. And then I feel like Prom Queen got to a point where like it's a bit of a what could have been. Could have.
What happened with Prom Queen? Just band little didn't.
You got to think we were friends since we were kids. So
yeah.
when you were friends since you were 13 years old at high school. We all went to Wollonga High School together. Well, me, JJ, and Jonah went to Wollonga High School together. So we've known each other since we were fucking 13 years old. And then now it's like, well, then we were like in our mid-20s and things are getting bigger and the pressure's getting bigger. And I think I was on a different path to they were, and they were on a different path and a different idea of how the band should be. I was a lot closer and stuff with the Byron Bay people than I was my own band, and I guess that also contributed a lot to me not being in the right headspace to do the best I could for Prom Queen. And that's why I ended up getting kicked out, because I questioned a lot, I doubted a lot, and I didn't have the same idea of where we should have gone. I thought we should have tried not to be as much of a metal band and still had the crossoverness of hardcore and as a metalcore band, kept kind of like the similar thing that we were doing already, but they had more of an idea they wanted to be a proper metal band. And I was like, man, we're not a proper metal. We're not a bunch of proper metal dudes. I'm not going to grow my hair long. And that was never said, but that's how I felt. I was like, I like having a good fucking haircut, and I like being like, yeah, I definitely bought into the wearing all the black and fucking whatever, because I don't wear much else anyway. But I definitely was still like, didn't want to be a fucking...
An 80s hair metal fucking...
No, but I don't even think it was like we were trying to be that. It was just more so like to try and be more like a Kill Switch or a fucking In Flames or a Soil Work or something like that. And that's just what they were into. And that was fucking... It's not that there was anything wrong with that. I could just see if we stayed in the lane we were in, we probably could have been bigger. And as time served, I feel like I was right. But it just wasn't the right timing. Like, it was, as soon as I was out of that, being in Carpathian was like this new fucking world. And I was happy again. And then as time, I remember when I was in Bury, I got asked to be in Bury Your Dead. I was at Winston's house, and he came in, he's like, Bury Your Dead have kicked out their vocalist, or he's quit. And I was like, yeah, fucking, I was like, maybe a few hours later, I was like, I've just got an email to come sing. I was like, this is the weirdest shit in the world.
No shit.
Like 3-4 weeks later, I was in America. So then all these things like happen for whatever reason. Like, I always look now and go, if I never got kicked out of Prom Queen, Bury Your Dead would never have happened. And then I wouldn't have made Confession with Dan. And I may have not lived in Melbourne at that specific time, or flew to Perth, like dated a Perth girl years and years ago that made me love the place. Then happened to be in Perth at a certain time and see the mother of my child walk out of a nightclub and go, like, who's that? And then weeks later, or no, months down the track, we end up meeting and we end up dating and having a child, and then the path that went on didn't work out, and then I've now got this life in Perth, because if I wasn't living this life in Perth, would have these tattoo shops happened? And I like look at this path and like time frame, and I go, wow, like all this stuff somehow every time it worked out. And then in the middle of that, somehow I was on Big Brother.
Oh, we forgot to talk about Big Brother.
Yeah, so like that happened, and then like that was even like a wild scenario in itself. And like all these things, they all came into whatever the roller coaster life I've had, and I feel like all these humbling situations and moments, from getting kicked out of certain bands, from being in toxic situations as far as bands go, from being in tours where I couldn't get home sooner, working out to appreciate music more because I feel like I took it for granted, and then learning to not only be a better band person, friend, and and whatever else, just all of it carrying over to being, I guess, a good business person and a good boss, where I've dealt with everything from artists trying to commit suicide to them go through breakups, to go through loss of family members, to go through the loss of an artist that took their own life that was working in one of the shops. And then not only that, like lose friends around me that were in bands or in prom, like Sean was in I Killed the Prom Queen. And then all of these things that have happened have really humbled me. Then I've gone, well, I was probably a dickhead for a fucking good period of my life, and I was probably a cunt and whatever else. And then nowadays I'm like, all my whole thing is if I'm a good boss and a good fucking person to my workers, if I'm a good co-parenter with the mother of my child, if I'm a good person to my own partner, like my girlfriend, and if I'm a good dad to my child, then I've come a long fucking way from the bullshit that was just a band in the... there's the band person that was all I was consumed by. Because that's what happens. You get consumed
on your own path
by being in a band, and the ego gets the better of you. And that's just life. That's just music. When you get given, like say you get given when you're a kid $100, you're like, I'm rich. I'm fucking rich. I can buy everything. I'm excited. It's the same way you get given 100 people just came to the show, 1,000 people just came to the show, 5,000 people just came to the show. You're like, fuck, we're huge.
Yeah.
We're so huge. And it just like keeps leveling up. And you're like, okay, well, I guess I'm the fucking man. No, you're not. You're not the fucking man at all. You're lucky enough that these people want to come and see you. You shouldn't be looking at it like, I'm the fucking coolest. I'm the fucking... And like on an egotistical level, it should more have humbled me and gone, I'm so appreciative that...
I'm grateful that these people know the words to my fucking songs.
Yeah, I wrote this shit in my fucking bedroom at my mum's house, and these fucking people are singing every fucking word. Like, that's psycho.
And there's still people to this day that sing every single fucking word.
And I was always like, finish the show, I'm like, how much money did we sell in merch? How much this? How much with that?
Did everyone have a good time?
Did everyone have a good time? Like, and that's a fucked way to think. But nowadays it's like, I finish playing these shows, I'm like, that was fucking wild. Like, sick, we made some fucking money. I can go
good
home.
Energy.
Everyone's happy. Like, everyone goes home with money in their pocket. So there's all these things that have really fucking made me learn just to, I guess... And I feel like being a dad just changed me. Like, just really, like, I guess the cliche thing is it really grounded me. But, like, it really did, because it's like was only ever worried about myself. And then now I'm like,
get this little human.
I'm like, well, what I do and what I provide and what the life I can give to her, and even like the world, like the fact we can travel like different parts of the world. Like, I've taken her to America, I've taken her to Europe, I've taken her to Fiji, like I've taken her across the country. We've gone to Byron Bay, like took her to Byron, go for breakfast with fucking Winston and his parents, and like we're like talking after, and then I was like, she's like, no, because she had a Parkway Drive jacket on that Jed gave her. And he goes, oh my God, I haven't seen that jacket for so long. And she's like, no idea who he is. Like, she's just like, this is just another one of Dad's fucking mates.
This is just a normal bloke.
This is just one of fucking Dad's dickhead mates. And then we leave, and I was like, oh, that's his band. And she goes, what band? And I was like, the band you got on. And she goes, I'm going to look it up on TikTok. And then there's like fucking fire and all this shit. And she's like, is that his band? I was like, yeah. And then she's like, probably back to looking at Ice Spice. Like, you know, like she's like looking at all this stuff. But like these things is like all these friends of mine have watched this child grow up because they like held her when she was a baby. They've seen her over the years when they've come to Perth. And it's like now she's 11 years old and she's sitting there like chatting like a fucking, like she's 25. You know,
Yeah.
like, it's such a roller coaster of life. But the highs and lows have really grounded me and settled me, and I'm like so fucking grateful that I can just go, let's play a show, and fucking 500 people will show up, or 1,000 people will show up. And that's why, like, it's like I can always sit there and go, okay, well, when Ikil the Prom Queen wants to tour, people will show up.
Fuck yes, they will.
So it's like the conversations which maybe me and Jonah talking, or me and JJ talking, or me and Kev talking, it's like we're one conversation away from going, let's tour.
Oh, there's a lot of fucking. Are you?
No, well, but I'm not saying that's like 100% going to happen. But it's one conversation away. Everything's one conversation away from ever working.
So you heard it here first. You heard it here first. Prom Queen are doing an Australia tour.
I can't say yes or no, but like I said,
Would you want to?
If we all message each other and go,
Let's
we
get the
should
band
tour,
back together.
Let's get playing the Aldinga Football Club. If the conversation is we're playing the Aldinga Football Club, we're doing a show, it's on. It's like we'll fucking put a fucking thing on the Oval. But yeah, if those conversations happen, they happen. Me and JJ saw each other. I flew to Melbourne in November to have a chat, just about life, just about how he is. We obviously lost Sean, and it was the fucking hardest. Probably as far as people that when you're in a band together, to lose someone that was in that band, it's like you're losing, because you're partners. You're partners in a band. It's like
You're losing a part of yourself.
Yeah. You lose because it's like you're all dating the one thing. Your life's that band. That band means the fucking world to you, and so do the people in it. So then when you lose a piece of a puzzle, you're like, fuck.
Well, you can
like,
never put the puzzle
you
back
can't
together
yeah,
again.
and that's how I felt. Like I'm like, well, that's now done. But like, I don't know. Maybe not. Like, because there's always going to be, will that band tour again? And it's the constant question I keep getting. It's like, by the time that band tours again, I wouldn't have been in the band for...
That's one thing, my mate James, but who is your biggest fan, by the way, apparently. I had to ask him today if he had fucking CCTV footage of, like, your house, because he was like, ask him about Crafter Chef, and fucking ask him about 618.
So the Crafter Chef thing for
Crafter Chef.
So if anyone know, on my Snapchat, I started cooking years ago, talking 7, 8 years ago.
I watched you making a palmy, I think.
I've made some fucking... I'd make sushi, but like potato, like mashed potato wrapped in like fucking bacon and a sausage through the middle. I'd be like bogan sushi. So I'd make all this stuff. And like I remember I just kept getting followers. And I ended up deleting my Snapchat because it got too much for me. And I was like, fuck, a few followers thing. And then like I'd look at the video and it'd be like 5,000 views, and then I'd look in the morning, it'd be 20,000 views of one video, and I'd be like, oh. And this is before
like it was hot.
Before Snapchat paid. If I was getting that now, I would be fucking loaded because it pays now. So then I remember it was a point where I like looked, and it was like I put up something, I can't remember. I was like fucking throwing pasta across the room, trying to land it in the fucking pot, just my utter mess. And I looked in the morning, it was at 100,000 views. And I was like, fuck, like, this is gnarly. So I was like, I'm going to print shirts. So
that's what he said, if you can get me a shirt.
So I put up the shirt. I went to the gym. I was like, I'm not even going to print them because I've got printing stuff. I'm not even going to print them yet. I'm just going to put them up myself.
Did it say fuck something at the fuck just fry it or fuck on the back?
Fry the fuck out of it.
Fry the fuck out of it or
something like that. And then I went to the gym, came back, looked in my PayPal, $4,000. And so like I'd sold like a couple hundred, fuck, I'm just doing the math. Maybe 100 and something tees.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, maybe a bit more. Oh, my mum, I'm just getting a message, and my mum needs to work in 6.5 hours, so her babysitting duties are nearly done.
Oh no,
So
that's fine. We'll cut it. We'll cut it soon.
I'll finish the stories. So then I think I sold 400 of those shirts. The thing said "fry the fuck out of it," so I did Crafter Chef with the Snapchat logo, and then fry the fuck out of it down the bottom. Oh no, it said cooking with Michael Crafter, and then on the back said fry the fuck out of it. So then when Confession played Melbourne last time, which is 4 or 5 years ago now, I literally show up and there's just cunts everywhere with that shirt. I was like, people have kept this for years.
My mate was peeking, he didn't get one.
This is fucking psycho. I remember I made a shirt that said the world's biggest dickhead and all these dumb shit, and I was just making fucking money off all these shirts for like. And then it got Snapchat. The thing I was like, the craziest one was I was in Brisbane. And I was walking down the mall, like in Brisbane, and we were playing a show. And this lady, random, like full office lady, she comes up, she goes, I watch you on Snapchat. And I'm like, what do you mean? And she goes, I watch you cook on Snapchat. It's fucking hilarious. I was just like, my God. And then I was just like, this is bizarre. And I was like, fuck, do I just get a fucking, if I just get a TV, like if I get YouTube and start doing YouTubes and all this other shit, oh, this is it. Like, this is what I'm going to do. Nah, I couldn't be fucked. I just deleted it. I deleted it and then went and did the tattoo shops, and that was me.
So you could have been fucking Chef Crafter.
Could have been fighting Logan Paul this week, but instead I'm fucking doing your podcast and eating
in Morphettvale.
Yeah, I'm in Morphettvale eating your takeaway today.
Oh, fuck.
Good chicken. If you fucking go there, literally, pass the salad on top.
Thank you.
It's real good.
Well, you heard it here first. Prom Queen World Tour getting announced next month.
It could. You never know. The
never
message could happen. So
can I be? I could be a groupie.
You could just you could be the one like dropping the scoop.
What's
Like you're
that mean?
dropping the story. You're like Ariel Hawani.
I'm Ariel Hawani of Morphettvale. I got the nose.
Ariel Hawani. Fuck. Well, that was good.
Easy, bro.
I've got to get back.
You got dad duties.
I've got a daughter and I've got a whinging mother at this point.
I appreciate you coming on, man.
I'm glad to be back in the south.
Thank you.
The king has returned.
See you, bro.